Hello everyone, and welcome back to Old World. We are live with a round 2 matchup, the Old World 2026 Community Tournament. This time between Kerstad and JCT. Both of these players have won their first match. They're on to round 2, competing against each other now. We have Persia pick from Kerstad into a Hattie pick from JCT. Let's let our friends on Discord know that we're live. And of course, if you're joining here after the fact on YouTube in future, thank you for being here. Very exciting time. Let me get my comments up as well. There we go. We're set up there. And we are streaming. We're good. Rider Capital for a Schemer opening with the Hittites. Getting that double scout, getting that good exploration set up. Already running up top to grab a horse harvest. Warrior moving forward to take a camp. We got forestry. Not ranger, forgive me. Ranger on the warrior. Which is pretty lucky considering the current layout of these woods. So we'll at least get an easy clear on this camp. Any other clears might be a little slower. Maybe down here would benefit from the ranger. But yeah, not too bad getting that ranger, getting the ability to easily clear this one camp. Let's hop on over to Persia and see what we're doing. Persia opted to go for builder first. And first trait, the shared trait amongst our friends is intelligent. So that's nice. We got a schemer. Where did the schemer go? Did the schemer go on the governor yet? Nope, schemer has not gone on the governor, but we could govern them. Might need to watch out for that. And the builder is in the city. We already have a pasture coming up. 3 pasture start for our Hittite and Persian friends. Going to be a little bit of an order bump. And we're opening, this is fun, we're opening with Persian clerics from Kerstad. Going to be very curious to see what Kerstad does with that. Could be difficult to compete for Judaism against the Hittites, but the Hittites did not do a landowners open, so the clerics could probably pull that off, to be honest. Doing some scout northwards. No riders opening for the Persians, so they lack that second scout. We've been seeing some pretty consistent rider capitals to get that second scout up and running early on. So like to see that from the Hittites. Not too bad. We have 20 city sites on this map. It is a wide inland sea map with no point symmetry on. And we have 2 islands. Well, 3 islands. 1 on each side and a central island. This could make some real... If we end up settling landowners in this location, this could be some really clutch tile buying. Could possibly do that in the north as well. I think we're going to miss that opportunity without some scouting, unless... Let's take a look at the known world already, according to the Hittites. Yeah, they have yet to spot the island. So if we settle landowners second, we're going to miss that opportunity. But that could be very strategic use of the landowners tile buying early on. Get yourself out to this island through tile buying. Put a trader's location on this island for excess growth. Get more border expansion. And yeah, there's going to be a nice... Honestly, in theory, with colonies as well, you could completely purchase an entire route, an ocean route across island hopping across these islands. So we're going to have to watch for that in particular in this game. That could be devastating for either player to go up against. And the person who has the leg up on that is Hattie. But I have a feeling they're going to settle landowners next up here. Still not the worst. You could tile buy along this coast. And perhaps hop across with a tile buy over here. Just be a little bit more expensive. No big deal. Stone cutting next for the Hittites. We opened with... Oh, we're opening with stone cutting. Okay, yeah. What turn is it? Turn 6? Okay, yeah, we opened with stone cutting. It's a bit of a shame. If we governed our schemer early on with that 1.8 science, we would actually have researched stone cutting on this turn. Bit unfortunate. 3 turns to divination for the Persians. So I think they're gonna. I think they'll probably have a leg up to getting towards Zoroastrianism. I'll be curious if we'll see a second clerics pop out early, or if we'll just found all 3 families first. Personally, if I'm going to utilize clerics, I like to settle them second or third. And the reason why is because I really want to roll the dice on my religion landing in the cleric's seat. Doesn't have to, but it can be convenient. Although this is a really nice growth location for a cleric seat as well. So this actually does work. Riders second for the Persians. Nope. I'm wrong. Sorry. Forgive me. Hunters next for the Persians. Makes sense. It's a good spot for it. There's 1 camp at least. And of course, Hunters is just a strong pick anyway. Maybe we want to explore the map a little bit to see if we'll bring in Riders. If we bring in Riders, we'll be ditching Statesmen. Not really the end of the world to do that. It takes a 3rd Statesman city to start making more orders than you would by bringing in just 1 Riders city. So I actually think that trade-off is not as bad as some people probably think. I could see bringing in Raiders here. There is 9 city sites on each side of the map and 2 directly in the center. Go to the 20 city site map. We have Danes. We have Numidians. We have some Thracians and some Vandals. Oh, and some Scythians. So we have 5 tribes on the map. Our Hittite friend is coming down here to clear some camps. Curious what we're going to bring in here. Landowners next. Okay, it does make sense. We can do some clearing. Both players opting to build a worker first in their second city and a second settler in their capital. Part of that build. Persia already has 2 pastures and a farm up. The Hittites have 1 pasture and 1 farm. So a little bit of that builder tempo being shown off over in Persia. Alright, Persia also went north with their 1 scout. They only had 1 scout. The Hittites were able to go in both directions, which is really nice for grabbing landmarks. Especially since I'm pretty sure there's more landmarks in the south than there are in the north. And Persia went in the north anyway. So that's going to be a lot of nice legitimacy for the Hittite player. Well, I'll have to take a peek back at that in a few turns once the Hittites have cleared the map. Stone cutting finished. We have Drama, Polis, Rhetoric, and Spoked Wheel next. All pretty decent choices. And early Drama would get us an extra bonus settler and also get us set up for culture. Polis is a nice path to forestry and land consolidation. Let's do a grove check on the map. Inland sea can tend to be rife with groves, but I'm only seeing about 2, 3, 4... a 5th one way out. Yeah, so not a major profile of groves on this particular match. It could pay off. What about camels? Anything camel related? I'm not seeing camels. And I'm not seeing elephants, so definitely doesn't seem like a major land consolidation play game, which is nice. I think the last inland sea map we checked out was very super heavy on the land consolidation play out. So nice to see some diversity there. Going for Rhetoric next. That'll be nice for exploring across the ocean. That's going to get the Hittites set up for 2 things. Both identifying the islands and also potentially expanding this landowner border. to cross this island and hop for some decent clearing. For the Persians next, we have labor force, and we're going straight for labor force. The other options were military drill and food boost and administration. Some decent choices there. I do understand getting labor force. Big fan of drama on a husbandry nation. Interesting. I'm trying to think of when I don't ignore drama, but I'm trying to think of when I get drama. Drama is a tricky one for me. I think the games where I get drama are games where I'm thinking I'm going to wonder spam or get architecture for Bath. So kind of, for me, drama is more of a I'm on the way to this whole leg of tech. Or vaulting. I am actually a fan of vaulting. If I don't think I'm going to incorporate this entire arm, then I tend to just never bother with drama. Which, again, isn't to say that it's not useful. I think architecture is super useful, and I'm, like I said, a big fan of vaulting when it makes sense. But for me, it's a little bit all or nothing. I'm either going to do the whole arm at some point, or I'm very likely just going to ignore drama. Okay, we clear another camp with the Persians. Settler out in one turn. How much damage will it take? I think we'll survive. Well, no, we'll take one hit. We'll do 8. We'll take another hit. Be down to 1. Well, yeah. We're going to have to body block. We're going to have to hold the camp for 1 strike with a scout, but that's okay. We can afford to do that. While the settler comes up. Worker out in 1 turn in our hunter's city. And we're getting the Order Shrine in the Cleric Capital. In 3 turns. Does that give us an opportunity? I think maybe 1 more settler and then we can go into Acolytes. That will make sense, I think. Might as well put both 2 shrines in the capital. I think by the time we finish 1 Acolyte, we will likely have grown another population. Given all of this growth we have here already. So yeah, probably crank out 1 more settler and then just go straight to Acolytes. Decent patrons location down here should the Hittites decide they want it, but I think when we look at these locations, it's going to be hard not to justify bringing in traders on this map. That'll go a long way. There's massive growth potential on these 2 islands, and then great income out here as well. So you could do several traders locations on this map. In fact, this location down here, since you're gonna do traders, this would actually be the best place for the seat, because you don't really have a lot of income sources out here by the coast. So you could put the seat here to buff the inland sources of income, you know, the gold, the silver, the gems. And then you could put traders here, here, here. You can just spam traders. Not often I suggest spamming traders, but I mean, there's quite a few. In fact, I probably wouldn't put traders here. I'd probably put another landowner's location here. So I'd do traders, landowners, traders, landowners up here. And then probably just, I don't know, litter the south side with you know, landowners here, riders, traders. You get something like turn 15 Judaism with landowners start on this map. You could get it a lot sooner than that, my brother. You could probably do turn 12 or 14. If you literally just did, if you were trying, as Hittites, you were trying to get the fastest possible Judaism, you'd finish your first settler. And by the time you finish your first settler, your first pasture would be done. That would take 2 turns. So what's the first settler? Is normally, with a landowner city, it's normally 4. So that would be 6 turns for the first pasture, I believe. 8 turns for 8 or 9 turns total for the second pasture, because I'm pretty sure by the time you're done putting a citizen in this pasture, this one would be finished if you literally just did pasture. So I think that's a 9 or 10 turn Judaism on the Hittites. There's nothing faster than that. If they have a double pasture start. with the landowners. You really just don't get faster than that. Of course, you would be delaying any further expansion or development for the time being. But yeah, if you were really worried about somebody grabbing Judaism from you, the Hittites can get it in probably 10 turns or less. Would not be surprised. Would not be surprised if the Hittites could do that. It's been a while since I've tried to go straight for Judaism on the Hittites since they made the labor force change. So my timing on that is a little bit off. But yeah, I feel like turn 10 sounds about right. Which is crazy, by the way. Which is crazy. I think that's the fastest possible religion founding that you could get at any point in the game, outside of, if we count Judaism as a pseudo-world religion. Not Judaism, Hinduism. Well, actually, Kush landowners could build a shrine first, finish the settler in 4 turns. The shrine would be filled in 4 turns. Oh no, but the acolytes would take longer. The acolytes would take like 4 turns each. But you could do landowner Kush, build 2 shrines immediately, and right after your first settler, build 2 acolytes immediately. And maybe if you were like an orator or something, that would speed it up and make it like 12 turns. So that could be a neat strategy to try. I already think the Kushite orator could be intriguing anyway as a strategy. Maybe you could synergize and get super fast Zoro with it as well. I think that's a synergy that people don't think of often with that particular faction in general. Not the orator thing, but the founding of Zoroastrianism. Literally a landowner capital and then 2 shrines, and you have a city right out of the gate that can build both acolytes if you wanted to go directly for it. So those guys are probably the fastest possible nation for founding Zoroastrianism. And the Hittites are the fastest possible nation for founding Judaism. And then I suppose as a consequence, Christianity as well, right? Because landowner nations are very good at growth. And if you keep building landowner settlers and then settling landowner cities, you're more likely to get the 12 citizens you need for Christianity. And you've already founded Judaism faster than ever. So in a weird way, the Hittites are like one of the best religious nations, even though they don't really benefit from it. But I mean, that's the nation to pick. Speaking of which, we have a cleric start. The Hittites are the one to pick, in my opinion, if you want to deny as many religions as possible to your opponent, because there has been more than one game that I've played against cleric nations, and I've wanted to deny the possibility of them cleric spamming. And, I mean, I'm really good at the Hittites anyway. It's one of my favorite and or best nations, but, yeah, man, I can usually clean sweep the religions against most cleric nations. There isn't a cleric nation that starts with divination. And there isn't a cleric nation that has artisans either. Because artisans is also pretty handy at getting Zoroastrianism up pretty quickly. So, I think with their extra civic boost and stuff, if you do divination first, I think the Hittites have a clear shot. And same trick to Hittite landowners, same shot at building or getting Zoro before a nation like Persia. And then we'll very likely beat them to Judaism as well. So the Hittites are amazing. I keep saying that they're the best nation in the game, but I feel like nobody wants to believe me. Although it's probably Egypt. In reality, it's probably Egypt. But no, the Hittites are really good. They're getting picked a lot, which I like. The Hittites so far in the tournament have been played 11 times. And I think their win rate is something like 5 or 6. So it's just under or around 50%, which is really cool. So they've been getting picked a lot, and they're doing pretty decent. I think everybody thinks about, like, I think we're programmed to think about high win rates, but honestly, I think in a situation like this, with the different skill levels, and stuff, and also the way, you know, events and stuff can determine games. I think if any nation has a high pick rate, like 10 or more, and then they have a something like a 50% win rate, I think they're doing pretty solid. Although, keep in mind, very important to take all of those stats with a grain of salt. The sample size is super small. The data sets are skewed by so many different things. Skill levels, skill gaps, first-time multiplayer players, long-term veterans doing cheeky, weird stuff where they're just kind of messing around and it blows up in their face. I'm not really good. I'm not really a good variable when it comes to stat tracking because I mostly mess around. It's hard to look at my win rate on something and be like, hey, look, Axum is bad. It's like, for all you know, I've been trying like an Axumite diplomat for the last 5 games. You don't know. Or I guess Perank would tell you now, but yeah. Where are we at? We're getting rhetoric soon on turn 15, so we will be able to jump into the ocean with the Hittites, and we have discovered this island. In fact, we don't even need tile buying, so we'll be able to hop right in this direction anyway. That's neat. That's really nice. We still have our free site set up. We have 4 turns to the next settler. We're going straight for the Elder Shopkeeper in the trader seat. Good nation to do it on since you have that extra civic bonus. One thing I like to check for, though, is if I have a good governor to make that... Oh, yeah, look at this orator. So I would have made sure... And we have the civics, too. So I would even buy the training and plop this orator in there. I think that would drop it down to about 6 turns. Certainly 7, obviously. But that might even drop it down to 6 turns. And to me, that's worth it. Go for a worker next. Don't like that. But, you know, here we are. 2-turn divination coming up. That's nice. Be curious what we pick here, because I kind of like free worker, and I kind of like food boost early on. Food boost isn't a popular one, but I like it. Free worker is good. I think some people grab that. They're keeping up an expansion. Hittites are erudite at the moment. A lot of that's coming from the schemer. We already have 5 wisdom, so that's currently generating 9 science. We finally did put them in the capital, so now they're generating 10 science. That's nice. That's quite nice. I'm gonna plop a granary down. You know you want to. Do it. What are we doing? Oh, no, we're building a quarry. Okay, I don't hate that. I would have gone a granary. But, alright, flatland, arid quarries. This will make a nice quarry bed anyway. That's fine. We can always toss a granary over here if we want. But, that's fine. Yeah, I'd love to see the stone coming online. We did get stone cutting early, so if you're going to get it early, you might as well start building quarries. I've been having quite a few experimental games lately where I really just stopped caring about stone, and it's been a lot more effective than I would have expected. Nice. 2nd cleric city down, and we did get riders up here at the 3rd family. So I like this. I think this is cool. I'm sure some people will be like, no, statesman, what the heck? But really, from having a rider city, you would need to found a statesman, and then a 3rd statesman city just to get past the order bonus of this one city. And yeah, so I don't think, I mean, of course, you could easily do that. There's 9 cities on our side of the map. But this frees us up to spam more cleric cities if we really are able to get this religion online. And I think we'll be able to do that easily without any contestation. We're getting another shrine up and running. We'll get another acolyte after the slinger is finished, I suspect. So, Zoroastrianism. And it's 2 turns on divination for the Hittites. So, Zoroastrianism should easily go to the Persians, which is lovely. Quite thematic there. And I think that's going to give us some really strong cleric output. We want to watch the timing on that as well. Because some people have been complaining that the cleric shrine output has been delayed, is delayed too much. But so far, I'm thinking this is gonna be done next turn. It's gonna be done in 4 turns. This will be done in another 4 turns, which will bring us to turn 21. Build a disciple in 6 turns, 28. Build a shrine. Yeah, your first shrine hits the ground on turn 30-ish. Not too bad. Oh, great point, Sinumi. Yeah. With the riders, hunters, and clerics pool, that's a lot of generals, because even the clerics, their character preference, commander and zealot. Commander, zealot, scholar are the primary things that they generate, and zealot is a 10 times boost. And for the hunters, we have hero and tactician. And of course, for the riders, we have hero, tactician, and zealot. So yeah, lots and lots of generals going to go around. Lots and lots of generals. Conversely, we have some tactician possibilities, and that's really it. Tacticians, and then whatever the riders generate. Hero, tactician, zealot. So mostly riders and the occasional landowner general. It's always something to think about when it comes to that type of stuff. Let's look at the known world according to the Hittites. I'm pretty sure we've discovered most of it at this point, and we can intuit the rest. We can intuit what we're missing out here. Although I guess we don't know that the central island exists yet. And the known world, according to Persia, is much less. So really great scouting from the Hittites. You're going to get that often with a Hittite schemer in general. Hittite schemer is one of my favorite openings. Said that a lot last season, even though I never got around to playing it myself, but I think it just synergizes so well. Oops, sorry. Forgive me for making noise on my microphone. I think the schemer synergizes with riders' families in general. That second scout is just so valuable to getting out to meet tribes, which lets you declare war, which lets you... it's going to be a 5-turn acolyte. Can we speed this up at all? Maybe by adding ourselves, but it's probably not worth it. So yeah, yeah, you get all that war declaration, and you get all that legitimacy, so you just get really great orders. In fact, let's take a peek at the orders, see if the Hittites have actually got ahead at that point. Not quite. Persia's still doing Persia things, so 2 orders above the Hittite schemer. And of course, the Hittites... Wait, what am I thinking? Oh, I was about to say they didn't bring on riders, but of course they did. They're getting trapping next. Love to see that. They are an ironworking nation, and I feel like the ironworking nations are the most likely nations to forget about trapping for a while. There aren't even a lot of camps in the region. There is this fur one, but I still think that's going to be good for slingers, especially since we're starting to set up our stone economy. So that's quite nice to see an early trapping on the Hittites. Don't forget about those ranged units. They're very valuable. Also, that's the other synergy. Thank you, officer. Yes, when you can be anything, be an invisible lumberjack. The other thing that makes the Hittites super fun at the schemer is chopping that wood. But you know what's funny is they get that ability with workers. No, they get that ability anyway, even if they're not a schemer, because once you lose the ability to be invisible, like this scout did, getting bumped out of the forest, right? You have that 5-turn cooldown. So if we weren't a schemer and we hopped into this forest and then chopped it, once it's cleared, you still get that 5-year cooldown. So you get invisible chopping at the Hittites, period. It's kind of amazing. Of course, not for scrub, but you get it in a regular forest. Like, the Hittites could chop this entire forest and then still, run away without being discovered. And it's kind of really funny that they can do that. Such a versatile nation. Yeah. Zoroastrianism is absolutely going to go to Persia. And it looks like Persia has out-expanded the Hittites. That's a little bit surprising to me. But yeah, we now have our 4th city on turn 17, or, a couple turns ago. It was turn 15, our 4th city, and we're still waiting on our 4th settler to pop out. So that's going to be 3 turns behind on the 4th city. Not too bad. Not too bad. Building a warrior up north. Like to see it. I suspect we're going to do a 3rd cleric city right here and make a cleric central core. And that's going to get us an extra citizen as well, because this settler will build us a cleric city, getting us that extra citizen. So we'll have a nice, fresh set of citizens. The capital settler settled this cleric site. So yeah, that's going to be an extra 2 citizens in total for this central core, which will be quite nice. Of course, this camp is being pesky already on turn 18. Taking a little bit of a minute to clear. Persia's finally sending a scout down south, while also having their other scout run across the map. We found the Numidians over here. So we know that the Hittites have not secured this city when we have secured our version of that city. Hittites have finally settled. Oh. What? So this is backwards. This is a trader city, inland trader city, but there's going to be no value from this. This doesn't boost gold income unless it has the fair, and only the seat has the fair, so that's a bit unfortunate. Like that we went from a quarry to a mine, I might have sat... Oh, I mean, I guess we don't have metal, but we could buy it. But I like getting our mine online. In fact, probably like to see this settler just build 3 mines, or this worker just build 3 mines, and then have this one that coming out start building shrines. Honestly, I really don't prioritize shrines that much on the Hittites. Divination is very, very low priority for me when I play the Hittites. Unless I'm trying to deny the religion from a cleric nation, in which case I'll go for it first. But if I'm not trying to do that shenanigans, then yeah, I usually don't care about divination. I'm very happy to just run Judaism almost exclusively for like the first half of the game. Military drill up next for the Persians. Married a zealot. I don't dig the faster acolytes. Yeah, no, I just don't care. I tend to just go in other directions in the tech tree. The faster acolytes are nice, I guess, but not a play style I've been into lately. Persia says he's having some serious lag, wasn't able to move there. Well, he's paused and it's his turn. Okay. All right. He chose to move up. I'm not particularly sure why, but... All right. Nice to see that turns all right. This is really driving me nuts, though. I guess Magnus gave me a reason why this wasn't too bad. Magnus settled one landowner city, and then basically didn't bring in landowners for like 5 or 6 cities. So that's infuriating. But then he was wonder spamming, so his you know, plus whatever relations from having so-and-so wonders in his territory, canceled out the landowner's grumpy bonus. But what's been driving me nuts lately is that every single player who plays the landowner's nation and actually brings landowners into the game at the start of the game only brings in one city and then starts spamming other cities. We've seen Roman players do this. We see Hittite players do this. I've seen Kushite players do this. It's starting to drive me up a wall. It's like, I don't get like, I don't know. I feel like it's not. I feel like the landowners more than any other family is not a family that it's like, oh, their seat is so good, so just like the artisan's family, right? Or the trader's family. These families, their seats are so or champions too, right? Their seats are so powerful that it can make sense to just bring in the seat and then forget about the family for a while, right? But cities like riders or landowners or sages, those are ones where you just want to spread them around a bunch, right? So I don't understand why people are bringing in landowners and then just letting them sit for 20 turns, 30 turns, 40 turns without expanding them. It's really, really, really driving me nuts. Sinumi says, Hattie is probably the only nation where I go for drama over divination. Yeah, I can see that. What do I do? I just said I don't do divination. What do I do? You know what? I really like... Hattie has become a nation that I really like Portcullis on. Early. To be honest. Or they're a really good land consolidation nation, and what makes them a good land consolidation is that they don't really need divination. They can kind of just... I don't know, it's weird. What else do I think about doing sometimes? Yeah, I guess it's... I don't know. I'm a weirdo who gets a lot of science from rural specialists when I'm spamming landowner cities. So maybe that's why people don't play like me, because no one will spam landowner cities. We do have access to a law now. We can get epics or exploration. Both would be pretty good picks. I think it's early enough for epics to pay off quite well. Nice. We're getting into this. We're getting our ranger promotion online here, so we'll be able to easily clear this camp with just the one warrior. That's nice to see. We have another warrior coming online for the Hittites as well. Crickets. Let's keep it up, guys. You too, buddy. I'm not really sure what you mean, but yeah. I'm down. Let's keep it up. Ooh. Oh, I thought this guy was going to die. 3 plus 4 is 7. We're at 9. All right, we can juggle this. We can juggle this. We're good. Yeah, we're good. Close, though. Another warrior coming out up north. Oh, that's still working. We've been working on that for a bit. Acolyte's coming out next turn, so we'll get a turn... 22 Zora? Oh! Alright, yeah, Magnus is saying, let's keep not spamming landowners. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess I'll have to be the one who does it. And then I'll lose, and then someone like Klaus Koala will be like, see, I told you it didn't work. That drives me nuts when people do that. Oh, man. Yeah. But I guess I'll have to get around to it. I can't even remember what I did in my, Oh, no, I didn't play Tamil yet. Shit. I played Maria and Yuzi. I haven't even played a landowner nation yet. I keep forgetting. I don't know why I keep thinking that my first game was Maria, with Tamil, but it wasn't. It was Maria. Yeah, man, it's really funny. You guys should at least try it. Next time you play a game, landowner the capital, landowner is a second city too. Build a settler in both locations, and then go from there. I don't even care what nation you're playing. You can do it with Rome, you can do it with Hittites, you can do it with Kush, whoever. It doesn't matter. Just try that. Just try a double lander opener. Settle your other two families, and then bring in the third, the fifth, what would be the fifth city as yet another landowner city, and just see how it feels. I feel like if you're running something like a zealot or a schemer, you're gonna feel a little bit as if you're kind of playing a builder, because the growth speed is not insignificant in my opinion. It's not as fast as a builder, obviously, but I really feel like you feel the momentum pick up. I feel like you... Yeah, Magnus, your Huntinal spam was blowing my mind. Seemed a little bit overkill. I think I understood the logic of it, but it felt a little overkill to me. Because I think you built something like 4 hunter cities before you even brought in... You did landowners, hunters, then artisans, and then you did like another 3 hunter cities, which was like wild to me. But one thing I was saying about the Magus game that was cool is that the Wonder Spam worked out. The Wonder Spam kind of completely eliminated the penalty for landowners, so that actually worked out. But yeah, I think if you're going to bring in landowners, they're a tempo family, and that's what I think makes riders Hattie in particular so potent as a rapid expanding empire. In my opinion, the two best expansion-based families are the riders and the landowners. So you have Egypt and Hattie. That's probably why I think Egypt is another one of the more powerful nations. It's really a toss-up to me, in my opinion, if I consider Egypt or Hittites the overall best nation in the game. And both of those nations, as it happens, have riders and landowners. And so basically the way to conceptualize that, imagine having a 2 extra growth in any city no matter where you settle, because that's what that combo gives you. If you're not connected with either of the families, you still get 2 extra growth. From riders, it's from connected status. From landowners, it's because they just get 2 extra growth. If landowners themselves are connected, that's actually 4 extra growth. So yeah, there's just a very growth-heavy combo available only to the Hittites and the Egyptians. And personally, that actually might be my favorite family combination. If I could play... I think a fun combination to try someday would be champions, riders, and landowners. Because there's only 2 riders and champions nations in the game. It's Maria and Yushi, and neither of them have landowners. The stupid's really good. Yeah. Yeah, alright. Well, how are we doing here? 5 turns of military drill on turn 22. 9 of you in the chat. Thanks for hanging out and chatting with me for a little bit. Nice to have people hanging out. Of course, if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, I hope you're enjoying the cast. It's a bit of a chill one this evening. I've been casting a lot lately, and it's a lot more draining than you'd think. So I'm just kind of... My day today had started and ended. Has started and it's ending with casting a game of Old World. Which, hey, no complaints from me. I'm right where I want to be. This is so much fun. I can't get over how much I've grown to love doing this. Temple, another temple up here. Sorry, shrine. So now we have our pagan shrine in all 3 family locations, which will be nice for settling, or nice for our religion. Pretty good pagan family religion in Persia as well. So we already have friendly clerics. Our Zoro landed in Persian in the hunter seat, which is actually not going to be too bad because we're about to get some more growth online. So this will probably be a 4-turn disciple. And we're going to get Judaism. So this is going to be a double religion cleric run. 1 turn on this settler from Gabai. I fully expect this settler is going to settle a 3rd cleric city right here. So just by What's this? 4, 7. So before turn 30, we're going to have 3 cleric religions with 2 religions up and running. Right? So give it a couple more turns to start going around and building disciples. And that's about turn 30, 35 that our science is just going to shoot up just from being clerics. And that's pretty crazy. That's like land consolidation timing without needing to bother with land consolidation. That's like trying to get baths, but having your science actually coming online when you get the technology, because baths take forever to actually pay off, unless you have really, really strong culture. So basically, yeah, it's like an early to mid game science spike transition that just happens all on its own. Really, really good. Stupid is so good, yeah. Monks on the moon, boys. Monks on the moon. Yeah, all right. So I want to see where we go with this settler. I mean, obviously we're going here, but I want to see what we do with the family. I'm really hoping. Oh, and look at this border collapse, too. This is just a quarry bed waiting to happen. A smooth... I would not even bother to bring in the jade right now. We'll get that off a border boost at some point, or, you know, we'll collapse off a border boost. Fine, whatever. But there we are indeed, the third, cleric city, going straight for a worker. Should also worker in Graba. Is this autonomous? Are you kidding me? Okay, autonomous. That's so... Is this our holy city? No, it's not. Our holy city is over here. That is annoying. I've had my religion get founded in an autonomous city, and there's nothing worse than that, because then you can't build a disciple to start the spread. That's really annoying when that happens. Oh, and a decent location for the fire shrine as well. We'll get 3 lumber mills up and running eventually at some point. So yeah, we're cooking. We're cooking in Persia. A few more turns, we'll get another religion. In fact, are we going to beat... Oh, wow. It's a rare day, in my opinion, when someone beats the Hittites to Judaism. I know we didn't start landowners, but even so, we do have a pasture here. We do have some pastures here and a citizen. So it is a rare, rare day, in my opinion, where anyone beats the Hittites to Judaism. So that is unfortunate. We are getting acolytes up and running, but we will just have gotten the notification that Zoro has been founded. Nothing wrong with building an acolyte for the science, so still pretty decent science in Hattie. So if we take a peek here, Hattie is up about 200 science into the tech tree, which is pretty solid. I definitely think the clerics are going to close that gap pretty quickly in the mid-game, but nice to have an early boost for the Hittites and get ourselves set up. Hopefully the schemer lives a long time. 41 years old. So a possible 20 more turns left, give or take. So hopefully we maximize that. And we did send a granary down here, so that's nice. That's nice. And we're going for another mine. That's also nice. So I do another mine, and I think I'd keep quarrying. What else do we need in this city? Anything? Do we use barracks yet? A garrison could be handy. Get an early garrison, I suppose. Clearing down here. Clearing tempo is pretty solid. I mean, it's not fast, not amazing, but it's consistent, which is good. You know, I think when we're building settlers, we have a place for them to go, which is what we like to see. We haven't lost any units. I think we should be able to clear this location pretty easily with 2 warriors. Interesting, interesting. Does anybody else keep forgetting that metaphysics now founds Manichaeism? Because I certainly do. I can never remember that. That's what happens now. Which is weird, because I can remember the Christianity change super easily, but I can't remember that it's metaphysics. That in so many games I've gotten Christianity and then still go to monasticism thinking I'm going to get Manichaeism, and then it doesn't happen, and I go, oops. Ooh, interesting. Putting a miner in here. They already adopted Zoroastrianism as a state religion. So what we really want to do is build a disciple, spread it to the capital so we can get quick disciples from the capital. If I were to guess, I think the Jewish holy city is going to land here in Carmania. And what makes me guess that is that founding religions prioritize non-capital cities that don't have a religion. And that calculation factors in paganism. So the fact that Carmania does not have a religion is still random, by the way. Still random, but they're the better weight that it will land in Carmania. So it could land in Gabai or Zadrakata, but I'm pretty sure we'll probably see it land in Carmania. So that'll be neat if I end up being right, because who doesn't love being right? Nice, we're getting lots of pins for these lumber mill shrines, so I guess we're going to see polytheism at some point. In fact, I haven't checked the wonders in the game yet, so let's take a peek. We are a builder, so wonders are on the table for us. We have the pyramids, the hanging gardens, Jirwan Aqueduct, Great Stupa, Necropolis, all great choices, really. Lighthouse could be crazy for the Hittites if they double up on that. Colossus. Museum, Chthon, all could be great on this map as well. Monumental Buddhist could be fantastic for this cleric nation. That would increase your opinion with all of your religions, and it would bring you in another religion. Could be really, really cool to see a player try and leverage the Monumental Buddhist. I think it's more powerful than people probably expect. And for the legendaries, we have Circus Maximus, which would benefit both of these nations, the Pantheon, and then, of course, the Heliopolis. So Clear Tempo is on the Persian side at the moment. 5 cities to 4. Hittites do have 2 laws. They have exploration and slavery to just freedom on the Persians. I like freedom here in this case. Mostly because we're thinking about getting our disciples out, like that we're building a disciple now. I fully expect that this disciple is going to move over to the capital and get our disciples online there. Really great growth in the capital as well. I think in the meantime, while we're waiting for the disciple to get on over here, I might even build another rancher to really spruce up that growth, or maybe a farmer, something. Got a little aggro from the Thracian camp over here, which is not really ideal. Don't quite know why we ended up out in the open with this slinger. Didn't really see what happened there, but I feel like you could have hugged closer to this river to get to the camp. Parking in these forests would be handy. Should be able to take that camp down pretty easily, actually. Yeah, I'm still a little surprised that Mohawk made Judaism so easy to found. I have no idea whether I'm slightly inclined to think they did that for some reason to make the Yushi interaction with Judaism simpler, I suppose, because their tech start is weird. But yeah, I'm really surprised that they made it easier, because I play a lot of Hittites, so I guess it doesn't count, but I personally never found it hard to found Judaism. But there's always a bit of contention and debate around how easy or difficult religion should be to found for different players and stuff like that, so I think everything's in a good spot now, though. I actually don't mind that it's easier to found Judaism. But I'm just really surprised that they did it. Christianity, I think, is better. I like that Christianity is no longer tied to a tech. And I think moving Manichaeism to metaphysics is certainly neat in concept, but again, I can never remember that it's even there, so not sure how it really actually pans out. Why is the Light of God still there? There we go. Another settler coming out. Another settler coming out. So we have we're getting pretty confident in our ability to clear these camps down here, which is good. I'm surprised we didn't move away from taking damage from this guy. But I guess he might have just come up and attack us anyway. 8 turns to navigation for the Persians. Potential second law, but we might not have the civics for it. We're opting for a settler in the capital. Yeah, I feel like I would have tried to get another growth hub, a rancher online, but I guess we don't need it. Because also the rancher would be another order for us too. So I think there's extra value in grabbing that as Persia, but I would have done it even if I wasn't Persia, just because I want to really ramp up this disciple production from my capital. I want to get as many monasteries up and running in my cleric cities as quickly as possible. Nice, and we did stick to the plan here. We built a mine and a quarry. Love to see it. We have a settler coming up down here. I could see settling riders here, actually. But landowners works too. They both achieve the same objective, which is having good early growth to build another settler or a worker right away. And that's what's cool, because again, this is a disconnected city, right? It's not connected, but because connected status gives you 2 growth, will be a city for riders that has 2 extra growth. And again, because landowners gives you 2 growth, it effectively has the same bonus as riders, just without the maintenance reduction and the happiness boost of connected status. But the main thing I think we all care about when it comes to connected status is growth. So technically speaking, the landowners and riders bonuses in that area specifically are the exact same. They both get a 2 growth bonus to their cities. No matter where you settle them. So that's pretty neat. Zorobhead is minus 99 opinion. Minus 80 opinion. And we ignored her cause, which probably got her disappointed in the first place. Rough. Rough. Well, we're pleased with our husband. So we could always use our husband to convert. I mean, that would cost civics, I suppose, but we could try to convert the oligarch and get everybody back to pagan. Could be useful to try for the riders. Get that out of the way quickly. Yeah. But otherwise, politics in Persia is stable for the time being. Politics in Hatti is stable, but a little low. We don't have everybody following the same religion yet. We don't have pagan shrines in any location other than the landowner's seat. Oh, we are truced out with the Numidians. That's interesting. Okay. That allows us to build this net without getting assaulted from these Numidians, so that's good. We're also truced out with the Scythians. Fascinating. Wonder what's going on there. We are a schemer, so technically we lose orders by doing that. But of course it does give us a safer opportunity to just walk right up to the camp, stage outside of the camp, and then just start whacking at it. We'd kill it in 2 turns, which is nice, and then it would allow you to... and we went riders. Okay, yeah. I think either one would have been fine in this spot. So... not a bad pick. It allows it. My thinking was actually to settle at riders, because I was actually thinking that I might want a warrior coming out down here to help continue to clear this southern path. So I do dig. I'm digging the riders play here, despite the fact that we are behind in landowners city count. But I think this actually strategically does make the most sense because we do need another warrior. We want him down here for more clearing. We have a slinger coming out in 6 turns, and now we have another warrior coming out in the exact same 6 turns. So yeah, I think that makes sense. Kudos to you, JCT. Now 5 cities to 5. And we're clearing our 6th city site location for the Persians. We seem to have aggroed tons of units in our general direction, which is unfortunate. But we'll be in the woods, so that's fine. Oh, nice. We got an event that killed that guy outright, I believe. I love when you get that event. That's such a nice event. Fires off pretty consistently, so you can reliably get 1 free kill in the first half of the game. Of course, you can't choose when it happens, but it always feels good when you're trying to clear a camp or you're in a situation like this and you just get the lucky ability to one-shot the damn thing. Sinumi said they'd be tempted to switch into Judaism if the religious head rolls a good character. I would wait. It's so expensive to switch. What I would do is I would try to get enough civics to adopt at least 1 theology. I'd probably try to go for dualism. So that's 2 theologies. Then I would swap. In fact, if I were doing... I think when I consider the cleric plays like this, I actually think I deprioritize laws, and instead I spend most of my civics on trying to get theologies instead, because the mythology on clerics, not mythology, well, mythology is also good, but legalism on clerics, monasteries is really good. It's going to be an extra 4 civics per city. And then if you get dualism while you do the double founding thing, you're going to get a bunch of extra religion, extra science per city. And then if you can get the civics off of that legalism to charge you up enough to swap your state religion into a second religion, well, then you can do another legalism and or mythology, or legalism or mythology, and then another dualism if you want. I'm partial to the double dualism myself, personally. It gets you really a lot of science. I know tons of other people like Revelation for the orders, but I don't know. I'm Persia. I get enough orders. I'm really one of those type of people who I don't crank up an advantage. I don't stack more orders on top of more orders. Instead, I use my advantage in more orders to shore up a weakness elsewhere. So I don't actually really value that theology. Revelation is it? Or what? I can't remember what it's called. Too much if I'm playing Persia. Because I'm one of the few people who actually does think you can have too many orders. And it seems to happen a lot with Persia specifically. 1 turn on the Elder Shopkeeper for the Hittites. It's actually just about to be turn 30, so I'm going to take 1 bite of my food here. And then we'll do a stat recap. Yeah, Persia's going to be fine down here. All right, so it's going to be turn 30. Let's do a turn 30 stat recap. Oh, technically it's turn 29. What am I doing? I'm hitting the wrong button. All right, here we go. 29 turns in. 5 specialists for the Persians, 3 for the Hittites. 4 workers for both nations, nicely done. 3 units for the Persians, 1 for the Hittites. But the Hittites are still clearing pretty decently for just having 1 built constructed unit. I mean, they have 2 because of the starting unit. But still, for only having 1 built 1 military unit, they're still doing a pretty good job. 2 laws to 1 favor Hattie. 5 technologies to 3 in favor of Hattie. That's going to be the schemer versus the builder happening. Improvements, 18 to 17. So JCT's picking up and keeping up in improvements so far. No wonders on the board just yet. Science net advantage to Hattie here. Again, the difference between a schemer and a builder. We have an extra 250 science invested in the tech tree, and we're looking at 39 science to 28. But in just another 5 to 10 turns, the cleric monasteries should be fully operational. So that should close that gap quite nicely. Orders are going to go advantage to Persia because Persia does Persia things. But the net total invested in the game so far is pretty much neck and neck. But total orders per turn at the moment is 22 to 18 in favor of Persia. Economy is... Hittites actually have a stone economy. Persians don't, which is ironic since the Persians are the builder, but I don't think they really need stone for their current strategy. They just need a lot of wood for their monasteries. Iron is pretty close. Food hugely favors the Hittites. 117 food already on turn 30 versus 50 food for the Persians. But still a good spot for Persia to be. 50 food on turn 30 is totally fine. Military score favors the Persians. Legitimacy favors the Persians, but not by too much. Alright, here we are. Pretty solid place to be. We're getting a... Oh, wait, no, this is an autonomous city, but they are choosing to build an acolyte for us, so semi-good job. Getting a slinger, another slinger out, getting a disciple, a Jewish disciple. Is this where the city landed? Yeah, alright, so Holy City's up here. Getting a Jewish disciple. Oh, you know what's really nice? Judaism landed in the capital already. So one thing I would do is I would not spread with this disciple because we won't be able to build the disciple anywhere else because we don't have it as our state religion. So I would take this rider's disciple and come over here and build my monastery here and then cross my fingers that in the time that it takes me to finish the monastery, there will just be a natural spread elsewhere. And even if there isn't, while I'm building the monastery, I would build another Jewish disciple in the rider seat, and that's what I would use once it's finished to come spread. And once again, I would use the off-type disciple to come build my monastery. That's something that I don't think players have conceptualized enough when it comes to clerics. I think they think too much of like, well, I need to build the disciple, and then I need to send it to a growth city and spread it, and then I need that growth city to build me a disciple of the same family type. But when you think about the build, like, yes, you lose an order or whatever, a turn from building all the monasteries. But if you just kill the disciple for a spread and try to build it somewhere else, well, you're losing even more turns on all of those same monasteries. If anything, it probably actually works out to the exact same math. So no real harm in using off-type disciples to build your monasteries. I do it often. I did it in my UHC game, and yeah, hopefully we see more of that little micromanaging, because I think that's one of the things that people might miss about the fact that clerics can be efficient. Look at this, though. One turn disciples from the seat. Love to see it. And we can start getting monasteries up and running in just one turn. So we will have our first monastery at turn 35 monastery. And then we'll probably have a turn 37 2 monasteries up and running. And if we do this correctly, if we take this Jewish disciple straight to the capital and build a monastery, that would be 3 monasteries by turn 37, which is not too bad. That's going to be an extra 12 science coming in. Cool. The Hittites have discovered the central island. Ooh, doom has come to the old world in the form of a... Look at this! Look at this. We're getting burned alive trying to build this farm. Yep. Holy religion in the rider seat is also nice. Holy City, because you get that passive culture game. And you can also try to get the holy site if you want it. Raid coming in, that'll be a little annoying, but I think this warrior can handle it. This site is fully cleared now of trouble. We'll get another city. What do we think? Is this going to be a rider city? I think this is still a good spot for riders. Or are we going to do another clerics? I'm feeling riders here, and then I would make this one another cleric. And then do hunters out here. What's the known world according to Persia? Yeah, so Persia's aware of this. So I would do riders here, one more clerics here, hunter, sentinel out here. And then I have no idea what I would do for the islands. Probably just more clerics, I guess. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, a raid happened while we're trying to clear as well. I like how we're going straight for the camp. Raid not going to bother us too much. We're not very well developed down here, so they won't do too much pillaging. Might as well just take the opportunity while the camp is low. If we got away from this camp, we could get another unit respawn. So yeah, take the opportunity while the camp is low on units to just clear it. So this actually works to our benefit. And then in 3 turns, we'll have some slingers and warriors popping on. Both empires at 5 cities, and both will end up at 6 cities at roughly the same time. So there's a little bit of tempo still on the Persian side, but Persia will probably settle this with a forced march next turn. And then I think the Hittites might actually be able to do the same if they want. This I would very, 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 very much like to be a landowner city. First of all, we need to bring landowners in general. Second of all, landowners on 4 marble, man, that's going to be really nice. That's going to be very swift stonecutters and then whatever else you want. Haha. Yeah, I remember when hunters could do camps, could do fish as well. I think that probably was one of the best balance changes across families ever made when they split up the hunter bonus between hunters and traders. Of course, Persia will be up in tempo on clearing once more in approximately 2 turns, or 3 or 4, once they clear this camp and settle their 7th city. This is probably going to be a chill session, unless one of these players gears up for a really nice timing attack. Certainly possible with this open terrain up north, or if someone decides to island hop. Island hopping could be very game defining. Ooh, just shy of clearing the camp this turn. That's alright, we won't get a unit respawning. Ooh, don't repair the city. You don't need to do that. That's a waste. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to do it eventually, but I'd just keep working on the warrior. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we need to start clearing our 7th site soon, so we're gonna have to attack these Numidians eventually. Nice. We can get colonies and serfdom now. Both very powerful. Especially on this map. But also we've been seeing players demonstrate the power of colonies time and time again in this tournament. So I'm sure we'll see more and more players dive into the world of tile buying as the tournament goes on. Nice to see some garrisons coming down. Garrison. Oh, nope, these are 2 shrines. Interesting. I wonder why we're doing 2 shrines. Specifically. Doing another shrine here, though. It's nice that we're getting them in the seats, though, because we can finally spread our pagan. We actually have really good pagan relation, yet 2 of our families are not benefiting from it. We have fur online, which is good for the riders. Want to toss that in the capital when we get a chance. It is their preferred luxury. So that'll be an extra culture and extra happiness for the capital, which is quite nice. Nice. 7th city site cleared. 1 turn on that settler. So we'll settle this turn. What are we going to do here? Really curious. I'm guessing it's either going to be riders or it's going to be clerics. Wow. Cool. Another clerics. All right. He's going to go crazy with cleric spam. I dig it. I don't think we've seen this yet. We have another disciple coming out. We already have a monastery being built. Also, we are a builder, so you could be stacking these guys if you wanted to speed up the progress even more. All right. And I like this crossing of the borders here, because then when we get temples online, we can put the temples right here and buff the monastery. And I forget, is Jebel in the game? Jebel's not in the game, unfortunately. Magnus is waiting for somebody to tile buy a site out from underneath a truce tribe. Yeah, tile buy or tile buying a city site away from a player who had cleared and claimed it but not settled it yet. That would be really funny. In fact, who showed me a save? Somebody showed me. I think it was on Discord. Somebody actually showed a game where they were doing that, where someone beat them to clearing a site. I think it was on a Dota map. So they just they bought all the way down the coast to the site, and then absorbed the site and turned it into a minor city, which is the most troll thing, and I love to see it. So hopefully we can see that in a tournament game. Surely this city must be landowners. Surely. Alright, there we go. Finally. We did it, guys. We did it. Nine orders left on the Hittites. That serfdom grab is going to help us equalize with the Persians. We jumped right up. Now it's 24 to 22. And Persia's not getting... Oh, Persia's getting navigation, so they'll hop back up in a second. So both nations with getting navigation by turn 35. Hittites got it a couple turns ago. But it'll be turn 35 and... yeah. Boats could be in the water. Going next for an apprentice officer. Alright, so where did this... Okay, we see the disciple here. I'm really thinking we're going to see this disciple build a monastery, off-type monastery. Let's have it. That's the way to do it. Make us proud, Kerstad. Second barracks coming online in the Hunters... I keep mixing these guys up for some reason. The Riders family, while an apprentice officer is coming online, so it's going to be decent training. And yeah! Oh, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. So great. So ideally, we can get a little bit of luck. With a little bit of luck. Especially because Carmania doesn't have a religion yet, so it's entirely possible. And Hirba, it's entirely possible that Judaism could spread on its own to either of these cities, in which case, once this finishes up, we can just migrate them down, and we can just take this one off-type disciple, and that's going to get us 4 science in any city he finds himself in. That happens to get Judaism. So really nice. It's very low... It's a lot lower investment to pull this off than I think some players realize. I think people think it takes way much more growth spam, way much more disciple spam. Of course, we're seeing lots of Zoroastrian disciples, but that's okay. We're getting them at half price anyway. But to do the second religion, you really just need the one disciple. And then as you spot your religion spread, just toss it around. And even that, even going at that slower pace is still of value because it's an extra 4 science that you might not otherwise have. And it's pretty painless to get. Military drill in 2 turns for the Hittites. What did we lose? Oh, we lose the militia. That's fine. That's all right. $11. You kill this guy. Almost kill this guy. There you go. More quarries coming online. Mountain quarries, that's fine. This is like the 3rd time I've seen this for the Hittites, where they're 2 turns away from something, but with just a little sliver of science. That's always so annoying. Nice, building another granary down here while building this farm. Like to see that combo come up for some players. Maximize that efficiency. Like to see that. I also I appreciate a player who doesn't shy away from granaries when they don't have wood income. Nothing wrong with going in a little bit of debt on wood. I don't think players do that enough, to be honest. Nice. We built a barracks out here which spread our border to the Danish site, allowing us to clear that when we feel like it. Settler came out and should be able to force march and settle. If this is another clerics, I'm going to be like... I'm going to say, okay. I'm going to say, okay. And I'm going to say that the Hittites are going to have a serious problem. Do it. Just make them all clerics. Do it. Oh, lame, Kerstad. You could have brought in riders up here. Riders here, hunters there. Lame. You should have done another clerics family. Whatever. I mean, the Hittites are still going to have a problem with 4 clerics, but that would have been awesome if that was another clerics family. Just massed cleric spamming. That would have been crazy. Unfortunate. That would have been a boss move, Kerstad. It's fine that you didn't do it, but that would have been a boss move if you did that. You also would have gotten the extra citizen, which means you would have found it. Oh, wait, what? Yeah, you would have gotten the extra citizen immediately. You have a Jewish disciple. Once this finishes, spread to, and you would instantly found Christianity. Although it might go to the Hittites if they have the requirements. They don't! They don't! They don't! Oh, that would have given you the extra citizen immediately. Ah, that would have been such a cool combo. Bringing in a 3rd religion off of a 5th cleric city. Come on, man. That would have been awesome. Oh, well. Can't win them all. Wow, 28 of you in the chat. Thanks for joining in, guys. A moment ago, it was only like 9 of you. Nice. Killing that guy with just a crit. Great to see it. And onward and upwards for the Hittite player going down the bottom half of the map. Decent enough vision, knowing that the bottom half of the map for the time being is not being pressured by pesky Persians. So no surprise at all to see the Hittites want to clear down this way. Interesting to me that they chose not to prioritize the northern part of the map. Of course, they do have eyes on Persians, so they know that the Persians aren't coming across the north. So maybe they're scrambling to get towards the center of the larger half of the map, and then they, with full confidence that they will eventually be able to clear these sites, you know, at their own pace. Of course, you definitely want to keep some slingers in this region, because these horses are going to be raiding us shortly. Look at this, though. Wow. Do we have Swift? Oh, we are a zealot. I missed when that happened, but we're a zealot. And we're ill, though, so hopefully we don't die immediately. It looks like we just took the throne. Yeah, we literally just took the throne on this turn. Nice. Which, we are divine, we're steadfast, that's nice. But we're ill. That would be really unlucky if we immediately die. Jason Henke, been here the whole time, just take it in and listen. Appreciate you, man. I'm really glad you're enjoying the streams. And it's fine. It's fine if you guys don't want to chat. That's fine. I chat all the time when I watch the streams. I don't shut up. Plus, I get to be a little bit meaner when I'm not actually casting. I can be more of a troll. All right, we're building the Great Stupa for the Hittites. That is a synergy, man. An extra 2 civics in every city, and we're the Hittites. 2 civics, 2 legitimacy, but mostly the civics. We already get 2 civics for every city, and this is going to give us 2 civics for every city. Rincewind! Welcome to the stream, man. It's dude, Rince, if you want to play in the tournament, we need another sub, and we'll get you in. So if your schedule frees up this summer at all, let us know. Message me or Alcaris, and I'm sure we can squeeze you in. You might have to take a loss already, but if you want to play multiplayer, man, we'd love to have you back. All right, tons of disciples in this cleric city, which is quite nice. In fact, we could probably take a moment to build our unique, the religious wonder if we wanted to, and get ourselves another one. Yeah, I know, there's no time. I say that after streaming a million hours. But yeah, no, I get it. It's super time consuming. I'm very lucky that I have people supporting me in this endeavor and, you know, being very kind with the fact that I have disappeared into the old world ether for a good portion of the summer. So, I feel like if it were me, I might just go right ahead and spread and build right away. I don't think I'd park these disciples. You'd basically lose 2 science per turn for a little bit, and then eventually you'd gain 4 science per turn. So it would be a net gain for you to spread and build instantly. Also, if you'd wanted to speed it up a little bit quicker, you could even, on your next turn, you could stack all these guys and get this disciple out, get this monastery out in 1 turn. So you'd be trading 2 science on 1 turn to get 4 science 3 turns quicker. That is the level of minutia and micro, but that is probably unnecessary, but it's doable. Yeah, civic stacking is my favorite thing, which is probably why the Stupa is one of my favorite wonders in the game, because I love to play the Hittites. You also have the Necropolis here, which is 3 civics per cities with pagan religion. The Colossus is 2 civics for every city that's connected. So you can just go crazy with civics in this game. Surprised that on turn 36, nobody's grabbed the pyramids. That tends to be a hot pick for players, and we do have a builder on the throne, but I like how this builder is just going straight up cleric stuff. Persians are starting to fill the hills here. It is 7 cities to 6 now. What's funny is the Persians are showing as primitive, but I'm pretty sure we're starting... Wow, look at that nosedive from... Oh, this is going to be bad. So we've gained a 300 science gain as the Hittites from our opening schemer for 35 turns. And right around the same time after this nosedive is when the cleric monasteries are going to start being fully operational throughout our empire. So this is going to jump up a little bit more, and that's going to be the swap that'll start benefiting Persia. No raids from the Numidians yet, which I find fascinating, because their camps are pretty full. I'll be curious if we stack. What's the order rate? Even lose a little bit of orders on the Hittites as well, which is unfortunate. We adopted colonies for the Persians. Alright, I'll be curious to see what we choose to do with our colonies. Lots of great tile buying potential along the coast. Will come in quite handy for this type of map. Personally, we can still do it. Mythology is really powerful for for unique unit timings, or we could get an extra 9 soon to be 11 civics from legalism. What happened? Did I miss something? Ooh, nice. And we're getting an early Byreme. Oh, man. Kerstad is cooking. He's playing the map, guys. He has colonies already. He has a boat coming out. He's aware of the arena that he's in and what he needs to prioritize. He's gonna get this boat in the water, very likely tile by across this mountain blockade, secure a position to take this site for himself, and very likely keep tile buying as well across. And that's going to set up a really, really nice coastal highway from this core that he's propping up with military, with officers. He's building a barracks here. He has an officer here. He's building a barracks. He has an officer. He can build another officer after the ship. Yeah, it's going to be really... He has a barracks here as well. Yeah, so this is looking good for the Persians. What do we got coming on now? Nothing? Alright, we're making our way toward the next camp. Did we lose a unit? Oh, did we kill a scout? Oh, exposed Hittite scout goes down to the Persians. I think that's first blood on this match. I think turn 37, first blood, Persians killing a Hittite scout. I think that'll do it. Unfortunate. Always devastating to lose a scout. They're so valuable. Of course, as a Riders Nation, you can kind of afford to, but you just never want to lose a scout. Ooh, organized tribal units. Whoa! Whoops. Yeah, organized tribal units coming for the Hittites. Nice that we actually have the slinger ready to go. Should promote ourselves to shield bearer. Hop ourselves in these woods and go nuts. Another slinger coming out. Settler coming out. 7 cities in Persia, 6 for the Hittites. The Hittites will be clearing this site shortly, so we'll soon be 7-7. I think the Hittites will eventually regret not pressuring in the north, though, once the Persians have that coastal highway set up. Especially because if the Persians are fast enough... Sorry, forgive me, I'm chewing. If the Persians are fast enough in their tile buying and island securing, they could theoretically get this island before the Hittites even do. Even despite the fact they've had this island hop the entire time. Alright, phalanx and aristocracy are targeted specifically. We're going for phalanx. Suppose that makes sense against the Hittites. 52 science on turn 37, by the way. And we did get legalism. 52 science in turn 37. We got legalism. And if we get dualism, we're going to get another 6.9 science. We need rhetoric, though. But that's one of the reasons why I like dualism. 6.9 science is absolutely not nothing. Especially in these duels, which tend to be done, within 100 turns, right? The other theologies kind of take a lot of setup. They're not bad, but they can take a lot of setup. I think the order one can be useful if the Jebel Barkle is in the game. But otherwise, I think dualism is probably the best value you will likely get in this short format. Of course, a wider map such as this could easily go into the turn 100s. I just think it's not going to because I think Persia is going to close the gap very quickly. Persia is getting raided by more Danes. That shall be annoying. The Hittites have eyes on this city, but they're not going to spot the Byreme because they can just see the land. Would be helpful for the Hittites to send themselves into this forest to get eyes on both of these cities and then also the coast. That would allow them the ability to spot if Byremes enter the water. Oh, this is an annoying raider. Might have to send a unit back here. Love the Hittite hill movement, though. Look how great this is. This warrior would normally be able to reach only this tile. It can reach all the way over here because it's a Hittite unit. Getting our road network set up, which is nice to see. A little bit more roading down here and we'll be fully connected. Looks like we started roading and then just kind of stopped. So that's a little weird. Of course, if you just build a road here and a road there, it would be fully connected as well. Barracks coming online. Slinger defending from the tribal invasion. Wow, really drastic drop in science. This is one of the drawbacks of starting as a schemer, is unless you have a concrete science plan and you scale nicely during the lifetime of the schemer, I think you can kind of accidentally bait yourself into thinking, oh, well, I have 40 science right now on turn 30, so I'm above my benchmark and everything's fine. But then your schemer dies and that 40 science on turn 30 drops to 28 science on turn 30, and you're actually realistically behind that benchmark. So we have 24 science per turn coming on turn 38, which is super low. We have grace, though, right? We have a little bit of grace here because, as the Hittites, we've had such an investment. So we do have 300 more science than our opponent. But on turn 38, our opponent now has 54 science, so well past the benchmark, and we have 29, which is not where we want to be. Definitely need to go into scientific overdrive on the Hittites, which is good because we see 2 acolytes coming online. That's nice. But we need some more science opportunities. If you're going to run a schemer, unless you have some other specific plan, I don't want to speak too specifically here, or generally, I guess. Unless you have a really specific goal in mind, I think if you run a schemer start, you want to make sure that you use a science boost. You use the science advantage to secure a science advantage. So an obvious example of one thing you could do, lots of groves on the map, use your schemer opening to secure land consolidation. That way, if you die by the time you get to land consolidation or get close to land consolidation, you'll be able to trade the schemer advantage for that grove advantage. There are many other examples, not just land consolidation, but that's one way to think about the schemer. Really make sure that you can use that science advantage to get a science advantage. And I feel like the Hittites weren't able to do that in this particular match, which is a bit unfortunate. Yeah, that's pretty expensive, Skipper, but it's certainly nice to do. Doom coming to the world again, and it looks like we had natural spread to Herber, so we have another monastery coming up, which is quite nice. Any Jewish spread yet? Any more Jewish spread? No, not yet. But again, we can always build another off-type Jewish disciple for only 4 turns up here. Come down, manually spread, and then once again use this off-type disciple to spread. So it's a little bit slower going, but you can still do it reliably. Running out of citizens to bring in Christianity, it really would have been cool to see the Persians bring in Christianity. Probably a little bit overkill, but still they were so close to get that threshold. It would have been awesome to see them have it pay off. Like using the migrated off-type worker here to come down and get the metal income up and running as quickly as possible. Really like migrating your workers. Want to be careful when doing it, want to be goal-oriented when doing it, but it is a decent tactic to throw in your bag of tricks of things that you do to try and increase your efficiency. Nine workers working on improvements right now. Compared to Hittites, 5 workers working on improvements right now. And the Persians still have more orders despite more turns invested in work. Oh, whoa, no, we did die. We did die. Is that what happened? That's what you're telling me happened? Thanks for calling that out, chat. Oh, yeah. So our ill ruler that took the throne. I mean, she wasn't that crazy, stat-wise. Let's take a look here, though. Let's see the breakdown. So, yeah, we had one ruler after the other. That's always awful. But our king was a 7 wisdom intelligent schemer. The next heir was a 1 wisdom zealot. Immediately died and gets us a -2 wisdom judge. So yeah, that is quite a science dip for the Hittites. That's a bummer, man. That's where some of the science loss would still be below the benchmark anyway, but yeah, this is a double dip here. Gross. And legitimacy would do the same thing as well. Double dip, boop, boop. 1 leader dying right after the other is just shit luck, to be honest. Meanwhile, our builder is just hitting doomed now. Let's look at the heir. We have a bloodthirsty hero. Okay, that's interesting. I wonder if we have any designs for that bloodthirsty hero. I think we could come up to see some contestation in the central site. We have 4 Hittite troops and 4 Persian troops, and 1 city site remains between them. Also, the Byreme up here, regardless what we do, this is going to be really, really nice for fending off coastal raids, by the way. So nice to have a Byreme early for that reason as well. Warrior in 2 turns to help deal with this raider. Settler ready to come expand more, which is nice. Probably do landowners in this location as well. 2 groves, if we ever get to... I actually didn't notice the second grove down here, so I think that makes 5 groves on the map on each side. 4 or 5. But yeah. Whoa, don't park in the city. You're going to take 1 damage. I think you might heal, though, so maybe it doesn't matter. Nice, and we're cleaning up this organized raid up north. The Persians can see this. 5 turns to the stupa. That's going to help with order economy a little bit. Really nice training in Hattie, which is good news. And also plenty of civics as well. How close are we to Christianity? We have the 12 citizens. So once the Jewish religion spreads anywhere, it'll be the Hittites who get... yeah, it'll be the Hittites who get themselves Christianity, most likely. Superstitious does lead to some weird events. Also, these weaknesses are less bad in Behind the Throne because there is an event that will clear any weakness in the game pretty regularly. It's not guaranteed, it's still random chance. However, you can end up with something like Superstitious and, 5, 6, 7 turns later get an event where it just gets wiped away. And that's pretty common in Behind the Throne. Which is one of the reasons why I don't think the DLC is as bad as people make it out to be, because just as much chaos as it brings in, it also brings some goodies along with it. You basically trade the weakness for the stressed status, and I would take that trade any day of the week because you can clear stressed, whereas you cannot clear superstitious normally. One turn to phalanx for the Persians. Our boat is out now. The Hittites cannot see our boat. If we move this boat out, we will be able to start taking out this coastal raider. Superstitious does not give you ambitions from the insane ambition pool. I believe only insane does. Honestly, Superstitious is one that I have not experimented with enough to have any of the effects memorized. I know there's this particularly niche and rare event that can trigger with Superstitious that I can't really remember the effect, but it does something crazy like allows you to get like double yields from wood chopping or something like that. Or like, I don't know, what if you chop a forest, it like instantly grows back or something like that. I don't remember what it is, but it's a weird thing that interacts with forest chopping. So that, since we have a superstitious ruler in Hattie, that could actually be a fun synergy if they randomly luck into that. But I've actually never seen that event. I've only seen that event happen once. And the only reason why I remember what it does is because I complained about what it does because it was super weak, and then the effect that I'm talking about is the change that Mohawk made to try and buff that effect. So, was that a ghost tribe? I think we've got a ghost tribe up here. Oh no, he's still there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I haven't seen the new effect on that superstitious event since they changed it. We could get metaphysics. That would get us a second religion as the Hittites. I don't know that we necessarily need that, but it's an option. I actually like metaphysics on the Hittites because with your extra civics, your archives are really cheap. Your archives are really cheap if you're the Hittites. So this is a very quick way to get an extra 1 science per city while also boosting your science tempo into the tech tree a little bit. Getting those payouts. So I could actually see myself grabbing metaphysics here. Especially with the stupa coming online, because that's going to be even more civics, which could make even faster archives, potentially. An archive is 40, right? So yeah, 4 turns, yeah, the Hittites automatically get a 4-turn archive, unlike the normal 5 turns. Yeah, that could be really fun. Oh, we married a Dane. I never noticed that. We have a schemer husband. If I can spot the behind the throne event for weakness clearing, I'll try to point it out. More acolytes coming, not acolytes, monks are coming up throughout the empire in Persia. That's going to be more science. Building another settler in this city, which is nice. I suspect we'll do hunters out here, but we could see another clerics. Going for an apprentice officer up here, so we're getting our training output online nicely. And then after, oh, yep, we're going to get another apprentice officer. So in 4 turns, we'll have 2 more apprentice officers, which is also more science. So two monks coming out in the next 2 turns, 2 officers coming out in the next 4 turns. That's going to be about another 8 science, a little bit less. So we'll be close to 70 science in about 4 turns. If not, actually with this monastery, yeah, we should be well over 70 science in about 4 turns. With stonecutter coming online as well, more science. Yeah, so we're really, I think they're really cooking over in Persia. These wider maps give you a little bit more breathing room. Or they can, anyway. It is possible, even on these wider maps, to close the gaps relatively early and begin to threaten and pressure your opponent and throw off their momentum. Nice, we've upgraded to a spear here, which is going to be nice for clearing. Quite nice for clearing. We can also see this raider, but it looks like we're just going to take care of it with our land forces rather than move our boat to go deal with it. We're getting administration now. Where are we headed after that? We getting rhetoric? I hope so, because I'd really like to see a dualism on Persia. That would be even more. What's our dualism up to now? 7.5 science. 7.5 science. Am I a playtester? Well, thanks for asking. I have, yes, basically. Yes. I've been lucky enough to playtest the game. For a long time, I wasn't really supposed to... I wasn't sure if... You know, it's always weird when it comes to that stuff. I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about. Well, I know I'm not supposed to talk about content. But, yeah. It was a weird feeling, because I'm like, well, can I tell people that I've play-tested the game at all? And nobody ever seems to want me to give me a straight answer when I ask that outright. But yes, I've play-tested this game a fair amount. Not initially. This game had been out for 1 or 2 years before I started playing. But eventually I was lucky enough to be invited to playtest some content for the game. Which, of course, is very fun and very generous of Mohawk. I think Mohawk has a really great relationship with their community. I love how hands-on they are. There's so many times where I've seen players hop on the Discord with an issue, and then someone like Solver or Dale just have a conversation with the person and walk them through an issue or walk them through a suggestion. And it's really cool stuff to see and have a little bit of an internal lens on the process, I suppose, as well. That's one of the reasons why, I mean, in addition to loving this game so much, like, I'm addicted to this game, I can't get enough of it, but I think it's also the relationship with the company I've kind of seen develop over the years as part of the community. That's another thing that makes me want to pour everything into trying to support the game as much as I can, because, not to sound dramatic, but I've never really had an experience like this with a game company before. They seem very, very oriented and concerned with the experience of their players and less, honestly, not even concerned at all with their bottom line, because I don't think they make that much money, to be totally honest. I think they're doing well for themselves. I think they're doing okay. You know, they're making games for a living, so that's nice. But, I mean, it's not like it's Take-Two or Firaxis with like $1 million war chest to keep churning out the Civ games or whatever. So, you know, they're still... I think people don't realize that Mohawk is still pretty much an indie game studio. There's like a grand total of 8 or 10 people that work there. So, yeah, really nice to support them. Yeah, and they've been... The officer saying it's neat how much love and polish it gets from Mohawk. It's like tons of people. I've been playing this game since 2022, and people come and go. You know, in the community, and that's fine. That's life. That's gameplay. You know, a lot of gamers. You know, they move from one game to the next, and of course, that's fine. That's the hobby. But what's interesting is that it could be 1 year into me playing this game. It could be 4 years into me playing this game. And an entirely random new person could come to the Discord, offer a suggestion saying, hey, I noticed this about the game. I didn't like it. Or maybe you should change this or whatever. And in a month, Mohawk might have taken up that suggestion. Like, you just have an adaptation of... Basically, they're not shy about good ideas. If you come to the Discord and you have... And it's not something like balance-oriented. That's a different conversation. They do make balance changes, of course. But if it's not a debate about the way a faction should or shouldn't work, or the way a technology should or shouldn't work, but, like, it's a basic user interface thing, or, you know, quality of life update, if they can do it relatively easily, they normally will. They normally will just be like, hey, good idea. And what the thing that's really cool about that is, whether it's me or anybody else, what that ends up meaning is that the community's fingerprints are kind of all over this game. Speaking only from my own experience, and not even as a tester, mind you, not even as someone who's done any playtesting, literally as just somebody trolling the Discord, I can think of half a dozen suggestions that I've made personally that are in this game. And that's really cool, because it's not even just about me. I can see tons of people coming on the Discord over the years and saying, hey, do you mind doing this? And Mohawk has done it. I'll see if I can find at least one example here. Real quick. Settings would be the easy one. The whole manual bonus placement of resources thing, 100% is a community feature. This was people being tired of the fact that random events put random stuff in random locations in their city. So, like, you get that free courthouse event. People didn't like that they couldn't decide where the thing go. And Mohawk did not actually want to implement that feature, but they kind of begrudgingly and gradually implemented and improved upon that feature over the years. And there you go. It's literally just because that's what the players wanted, so eventually they did it. All right, where are we? What are we doing? I feel like I've been waxing poetic about Mohawk for a little bit. I was just reading the chat. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad that you guys are here, and I'm glad that you guys are fans, basically. Because, I don't know, I love this game. Alright, so Persia is doing Persia things. A master... Oh, this is an autonomous city still, right? Yep, okay, so they're just going to be churning out acolytes, which is fine. Building another settler. Gearing up to take the islands, I suspect. We've cleared this site down here. The Hittites, we can see this Hittites settled this city, so we're going to need to make a decision of if we want to contest the middle or just let the Hittites take it. I think you're fine either way. Honestly, I don't think I would contest. We're cooking so well over here in Persia. No point in wasting any orders, blood, sweat, or tears trying to take the Vandal site. Let the Hittites take it. They've dropped down to competent. That's your best sign that you're doing well, by the way. Here's a little tip to reading the game itself. If you are a builder or I don't know, a commander or a zealot or a hero or an orator, right? If you're a non-science archetype and you go up against a schemer specifically, but also a scholar, right? You're going to have face it with both archetypes. If you go up against a science-based archetype and or a science family, so let's say you go up against a Babylonian scholar, right? That's a science powerhouse. They're going to jump up to erudite in no time, right? There's nothing you can do about it. If you're like a Persian builder going up against a Babylonian scholar, they're hitting erudite and you can't stop it. But here is what you want to watch out for, because this is a very great sign that you're doing very well in your game. It is now turn 43. So if you can look at turn 43 or turn 50-ish, right, the mid-game transition, and you can look across at your opponent's tooltip, and you see that they've actually dropped from erudite to competent, then that means that your science is absolutely now better than theirs because you've leapfrogged past being them from them being erudite. You're catching up. You're gaining on them. And the only way that could possibly happen against a schemer or a Babylonian scholar or anything like that is if your scientific development has been greater overall in the course of the game than the initial bonus that your opponent started with. So that's always a great way to read that if you're dealing against a heavy science pick. Schemer, scholar, Babylonian scholar, Greek scholar, anybody sages in general is usually going to have a science spike that you're going to have to navigate back from. So if you're not playing a science heavy start, or you're playing something like clerics where your science takes a moment to pop off, and you are dealing with a learned or erudite player, and that drops to competent in the mid game, you are doing great. Your pacing is very likely better than theirs. So that's a great way to read that. And that's great news for Persia. Bad news for the Hittites. I would be worried about that myself, especially with my 37 science per turn. Although I have to say, a moment ago, we're still superstitious too, by the way. A moment ago, this was only 28 science, 26 science. So it's been like 3 or 4 turns, and this has jumped right up. And we did decide to grab metaphysics. I actually think that's a great grab here. I've talked about this already with the civics boost. It's pretty painless for the Hittites to toss an archive in pretty much every city. That makes your 2 civic per city bonus transform into a 1 science per city bonus pretty easily. It's just 4 turns worth of build queue or less if you're dealing with overflow and things like that. Like this officer, when it finishes, will have a little bit of overflow. This will finish on the same turn that the metaphysics finishes. So you could probably do a 3-turn archive. And that's really not bad at all. I think it's totally worth it. And that's going to help them catch up or maintain a science lead. Let's take a look at the science score. Yeah, because we're really cooking in Persia now. 68 science on turn 44. And the Hittites still have their advantage, by the way. We still have about an extra 70 science in the tech tree before Persia overtakes. So that's going to be that early schemer advantage that I was talking about, but Persia's caught up. So that's kind of the example I was saying, where like this big swoop, and then, of course, the schemer dying without securing an early science advantage is what's going to allow Persia to reach competent. So if you're the Persian player and you've had, back here or so, we had an erudite Hattie. So if 20 turns later you're now competent, you can reliably guess that you're getting an arc like this, where you're consistently rising and your opponent has either plateaued, stagnated, or fallen dramatically off of a character death or something. Interesting question from EQC. I honestly don't ever choose clerics since the rework, but I don't get to do with them. How do you make clerics good? I mean, I think we're seeing that, really. We got an early religion, right? We have a high growth location for the cleric seat, which gets us very quick disciples, right? And what we've done here is let's see if I can math this out. We're getting 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. We're getting 20 science per turn right now. So that's nearly a third of our science on turn 45. That's coming from the clerics. So they're kind of like a mega science family like sages, but they just have like a delayed fuse. And then what makes them a little bit better is now in our Zoroastrian cities, we're also getting an extra 4 civics per turn. If we can find time to establish dualism, we'd be getting an extra 7.5 science per turn. Or if we even did Gnosticism, no. What did we do? Yeah, Revelation. That would be way more orders once temples come online. So basically, they're one of the best scaling families in the game. But in this kind of dual format, you need to kind of get started early on. And I think Persia did a great job of doing that. We founded Zoroastrianism on year 22. And keep in mind, you can do this way quicker than 22. So we founded Zoroastrianism on turn 22. We had all of our monasteries starting to come online in the mid-30s, and now we have a really nice science spike and foundational science that can develop and carry us through the rest of the game. And again, bear in mind, you could have got there are players who can get Zoro or Judaism in something crazy like 15, 18 turns. So that means even faster potential monasteries to line up. But the reason why they get a bad reputation from some of the competitive multiplayer people is because they take effort to set up. So it's map dependent. This is a wider map. This is a larger map on our tournament selection. So you probably wouldn't want to run clerics on a continent dual map because that's a very tight, small arena. But when you have space like this, you had a player that did 4 cleric cities. He did 4 monasteries, 5 because of the Jewish one. He has 5 monasteries and 4 cities. And really, honestly, I would have settled clerics here. I already talked about that. And that could have been a 6th monastery. And now we just got dualism for our 7.3 science. So yeah, we have 82 science per turn. And what did I say? This is 4, 8, 12... 16, 20, 27. So nearly 30 science per turn out of our 80 science empire. That's a sizable chunk of our national science. And it could grow larger, right? If we just built it, we can build a 5-turn Jewish disciple. We could have built that at any point if we chose. Obviously, we chose disciples, which is still a good investment, but earlier we could have built another Jewish disciple, spread to one of these cities, migrated this disciple down, and built another 4 science. Also, we're getting an improvement. We're getting the pyramids, which is quite nice. Pyramids for the Persians. Yeah, so basically it's just a very science powerhouse. And if you actually build all these monks, it's even more civics, because the Elder Monk is one of the best specialists in the game. So if we can get a judge in one of these locations, rush out a couple of elder monks, that'd be really great too. Mostly, basically, to cap that off, clerics are big scaling. They're a big scaling family. On a long enough timeline, they will outscale even sages, I believe, in terms of raw potential science and or advantage output. And I think that's per city, not necessarily breaking down like a cleric's capital versus a sage's capital, or a mega city, but in terms of the potential output of the spammed cities, even orders, even statesmen, a cleric can supersede the order output of a statesman city. So basically, they're kind of like the jack of all trades that does everything that all the other family does, but it takes them longer to actually get set up. And if you want to get really crazy, but there's more setup, if you ever find yourself on the way to vaulting for any reason, this 2 training per monastery is doubled in cleric cities. So every monastery would be worth 4 training. So you can actually do a build. You can do a weird monastery build. I actually would love to see this in the tournament where a cleric nation goes straight up this line, builds some barracks along the way, right? And just gets 4 training per monastery in their cities after, you know, try to spread 2 monasteries in each cleric city. That's 8 training in every cleric city, plus barracks. If you get the tyranny thing, the whole 100% output with tyranny and ranges, that's 16 training in every cleric city. So it can get pretty crazy. It can get pretty crazy, but you just need to work at it. And so yeah, why it's not popular in duels is because you don't always get the opportunity to work at stuff like that because it takes time. And you can either die or the game could just be over. Ooh, we have a chariot online for the Hittites. Does that mean we have spoked? I kind of lost track. No, that was a free chariot. Love the mercenary chariot. Metaphysics in 2 turns. We did riders out here. Interesting. Really don't want to have landowners be the most prolific family for some strange reason. All right, we've cleared this site, and we've settled, and that, damn it, not another cleric city. I wanted to, why are we spamming clerics, man? Well, if this is going to be riders, we should have definitely put this city as clerics. But I guess we're content with the 4 cleric cities. I guess it's a little overkill. And now we're going to anchor. Oh, this is beautiful, man. I think we're going to see it happen. I think the Persians are going to get all across the ocean. Oh, they might actually end up contesting. The Hittites might clear this site just in time. Really want to see an anchor here from the Persians, though. Get them start clearing this site as well. Gonna be tricky with only the 1 tile, though. I'm not sure how I would go about doing that. Ooh, are we gonna anchor here? So then we can do some damage to these guys? That would be... Ooh, okay. So this would be 11 damage, so we could kill this thing in 2 hits, allowing us to get a second unit. Nope, we're going back for the anchor here. That's okay. That's okay. We could just move a unit in, hit, then next turn move the unit back, heal, move a different unit in, hit. We could just keep cycling units for a little bit. We also do have a hero on the throne. Cool. Yeah, really, really looking like a strong game for Kerstad. He seems like a strong player. I can't remember if I've ever played him or not. I played a good number of people in the tournament. I think I played about half of the players that are in the tournament in at least 1 practice match, but I've lost track of a couple of the ones that I played. The ones that I played maybe only once. I'll do a turn 50 stat recap in a little bit. We've been checking stats sporadically throughout the game. We have the German Aqueduct coming down. That's pretty nice. Nice to get a wonder. In addition to the stupa. In fact, speaking of stupa, do we have any edicts set up anywhere? It's important to not forget that part, because I feel like if you don't build the edicts, then that's there's no kind of point in building the stupa. Like, the stupa is what... the edicts are what the stupa is for. I like to try and spam my edicts immediately when the stupa is finished. Because that's just such a surge in power. 1 turn on metaphysics. Really want to keep an eye out on what they choose to do here with the metaphysics grab. Because we have quite a few build queues emptying next turn. So I would love, personally, I would love to see 3 inquiries not inquiries, archives going into these build queues. Oh, 4. Another one over here, yeah. I personally would put all of my archives up and running. Speaking of... Okay, we're neck and neck in power score, which is still great news for the Hittites. Don't want to lose track of that. Really don't want an army showing up on your doorstep on turn 50 when you're completely ill-prepared to deal with it. And we founded Christianity. We did, in fact, get the Christianity for the Hittites in the trader city. Not too bad. We can get 2 turn disciples. That'll be quite nice if we want to do that. It's a pretty decent location for a founded religion, to be honest. So let's take a peek over at Persia and see what was the third city that got Judaism. First of all, look at this. Zoroastrianism is every city. It was Tus. All right. All the more reason this should have been a cleric city. No, it's really good to see a nice performance from clerics in the tournament so far. I really think it's been getting a bad rep. And this has been a really, really nice showing, I think. It's almost turned 50 and we're about to have 100 science per turn. And I really think, while some players in some situations can do a little bit better, I feel like 100 science and 50 turns is as good as you'd ever need. So, solid showing there. Nice to see some farms going down all around this lush area of Persia. Gonna make sure he gets some good econ up and running. Nice to see some quarries as well. Could be fun to put a couple of marshland farms down. We have aristocracy, yes? Or centralization. We haven't adopted centralization yet. We do have 4 laws available, but we haven't adopted them all yet. That'll be easier to do once these pyramids finish, so I suspect we will wait until the pyramids finish. Citizenship also coming up in 5 turns. So citizenship will be law number 5. Monasticism will be law number 6. And then personally as Persia, I mean, we get sovereignty as well, but personally as Persia, I love capping off with a doctrine and utilizing orthodoxy. And of course, with clerics, the temples would be 2 orders per. Yeah, Richmond mentioning that Persia used to struggle with science, and I definitely think this is the way to get really, really good science on Persia, for sure. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease to make it happen, but there's nothing wrong with that. Map dependent. We have a good map for it. This is my anxiety. This is why I hate playing against cleric nations, because if they bring in clerics, I feel like you're automatically put on a clock almost more than any other nation because they scale so hard. And so I do not want to let a cleric nation just sit back and eco up. Because it's just going to be a nightmare long term. Nice to see some jade coming online. Nice to see a trapper coming online as well. For the Persians. A farmer coming. I feel like that's probably not needed, but more food. More food for building unique units. Another settler coming online. Where can we settle? Or I guess we're going to go for the front site. Or what? Yes, what we should do is hop right across. Ignore the central site and contest this site now. Oh, I hope we see that. It's the Hittites' turn now. Let's see what we're going to do in Hittite land. We have units that can come up here and attack this stuff, but I think we're focusing on this site for now. We have a settler coming out in 3 turns. Do we have a settler currently? Nope. So 3 turns before we can settle a site. 12 orders left for the Hittites. Where else are we? We have a raid coming down here that we'll need to worry about. Worker coming out. We just got metaphysics, so I'm going to keep my eye on the build queues and see what we do. Getting an officer next, that's okay. That's okay. Uh, 10 orders left. What are we doing? Oh, we rushed out the officer like that. We're a judge now. Did I know that we were a judge? Was she always a judge? Well, that's good if she was. Can get a courtier. Our brother can also become a judge, and we can adopt a state religion if we want. Iffy if we should bother on that, but we're going to get Manichaeism from having what's the second Christian city spreads. So I'd probably get this disciple out and just do a quick spread. Get myself Manichaeism as well. Don't necessarily need it, but it could come in handy. Also, actually, if we get monasticism up, we can start building our own monasteries for science. 39 science on turn 48. So a little bit behind tempo for the Hittites. A little bit behind tempo. 8 orders left. Doesn't look like we're trying to cross. Nice, we're building roads. Here we go. Now we finally have our connected status. Fully connected. Hattie. Love to see it. I think I would have preferred one of these two cities to be landowners. And the other one could be riders. I think this has riders was the correct call. This should have been landowners. But alas, here we are. 1 order left, so we are not crossing onto this island as the Hittites prepping to clear the Numidians. We have spears in Persia. Is Persia aware of this? Can they get here? My hope, my sincere hope, is that we see some Persians jump across the water. And they could do it in a way where they sit out of the Hittites' vision as well. So let's keep an eye on what happens in Persia. Politics in Persia is fantastic, by the way. One upset family, but everybody else is super, super happy. Oh, yes! Awesome. Awesome. This is so good. Oh, no, did we just reveal ourselves? We did. Oh, no. But I don't think, honestly, I don't think the Hittites can contest this. This is great. This is great, guys. Do you know how quickly this just shrunk the battlefield? You know how massively this just shrunk the entire map in favor of Persia? This is huge. This is huge. Wild. I wonder if we would see the Hittites try to respond by rushing the settler. Do they have the civics? Let's take a peek. They do. I want to see if the Hittites would try to respond by rushing the settler and seeing if the Hittites don't put any damage on this, they can't clear it. There's not enough slingers in the region. Yeah, there's not enough slingers, so they couldn't do it. If you could get enough damage to clear this as the Hittites, it could be a funny thing to try and come in, clear it real quick, and then pop a settler down. We're seeing a quick pivot. Love the quick pivot. We were getting sovereignty, and then the Hittites immediately swap to steel because they see a bunch of spears. That might not actually be worth it, but, well, I mean, it will be worth it. But sovereignty is also a good grab, so maybe that would have made sense. But you definitely need steel against a bunch of spears in Persia. It's now the Hittites' turn. That was so great. And we have the settler right behind on the way. Smooth, smooth sailing from Kerstad. Yes! The cleric city could spread Christianity in their own cities. So they're doing that. And they have 2 disciples up and ready. So this is going to be, in 6 turns, we're going to be starting another monastery, which is another thing that makes clerics so annoying to deal with in these games, because if they secure Zoroastrianism and Judaism, they don't even need to bother securing the other 2 religions. And in fact, this will bring in Manichaeism into the game. Spreading Christianity in here will bring Manichaeism into the game. It will be founded over in Hatti, but then the clerics can do the exact same thing and build another 2 disciples, putting another monastery in their capital, and then boom, boom, science. There you go. Lots and lots of science. It would not steal Manichaeism because the Persians do not have metaphysics. And if the Persians did have metaphysics, then it would just be a coin toss between the 2 nations, basically. Byrene coming out down here. That's a nice adjustment as well. Heavy Chariot coming out in the capital. That's good. Not going to do much against spears, but always nice to have a couple of heavies roaming around if you need them. Steel is not too far away, which is nice. Nice. We did build an edict. Should get a few more of those up and running. And now it's Persia time. How are we going to do this? Alright, that's 1 death, 1 dead unit. Oh my goodness. I'm a little wondering why we're not trying to scout to get eyes on the Hittites, but interesting, interesting. This is now a door opened for the Hittites. I'm not sure if this is a good idea because Persia just might take the city, but it is now possible, because of the damage put on this camp, it is actually now possible for the Hittites to rush this settler out, force march this chariot down, hit, rout, slinger, hit the camp, rout, clear the camp, and settle the city next turn on this tile. So you got to be very careful if you're trying to do something like that. Again, I don't know if that's a good idea for the Hittites to do, but you have to be very careful if you're Persia and you don't want somebody to come in and snipe your site, because the Hittites can absolutely do that. Just pointing that out one more time. Slinger to this location does 3 damage to this back camp. Chariot comes out, hits this, routs it, and then does 5 damage to the back camp, clearing both of these units out. While it's Kerstad's turn, we react by civic rushing the settler, and then we bring the settler to this tile and plop it. We have enough training to force march. We have enough orders to do that whole situation. So Kerstad is very much in a position to be able to lose that camp. Again, I don't really know if it's a good idea, because I feel like 4 spears and a slinger could probably start pressuring that city enough to maybe just capture it. But of course, we are right by our coast. We do have units. We have a heavy coming out that we could rush if we want to. It would be hard to do anything against spears with it, but we have axes in 5 turns, so might be worth trying to clear this site and steal it from the Persians rather than allowing them to get set up. Rinchburn asking if Hatti has any advantage at this point. Looks like Persia has both long-term and short-term advantages. Well, that's a great question, and I did say that I was going to do a turn 50 stat recap, so let's break it down. Let's break it down. Whew. For workers produced, 1 more worker than the Persians at the moment in favor of Hatti. 18 specialists to 12 in favor of Persia. Units produced 8 to 6 in favor of Persia. Laws adopted 4 to 2 in favor of the Hittites. So currently there's a law tempo advantage, but again, of all the unique units, I feel like the heavy is the hardest one to really leverage if its counter is in the field, because spears can really shut those heavies down. Technologies 10 to 9 in favor of Persia. Improvements controlled 46 to 45 in favor of Hittites. However, they're neck and neck, so that's not really much of an advantage. Work return, well, improvements. Oh, I just did that. Yeah, 46 to 45. Resources, science, massive science advantage now. Persia finally has taken the lead in overall invested science in the tech tree by turn 50. 89 science, 240 in favor of Persia. 40 science is not where you want to be on turn 50. That's below our benchmark, and we've been below our benchmark for quite some time. So you're really going to start getting leapfrogged here by your opponent. Still not bad in terms of overall investment in the tech tree. There's some breathing room for Hittites, but I mean, asking to bridge a gap of 40 science in the next 10 turns is a tall ask, but that's kind of what the Hittites need to do. They need to just crank the science up in the next 10 to 20 turns, and that way, in that time frame, Persia will only be about, I don't know, 400-ish science ahead of them in the tech tree, plus or minus, basic math. So, that's not insurmountable. Orders is advantage Persia, of course. But, actually, Hittite's not doing too bad on that front, to be honest, when it comes to a game against Persia. 29 to 25 is not too bad at all. Economy, iron favors Hittites at the moment. Food favors Hittites at the moment. Stone favors Hittites at the moment. So a bit stronger econ on the Hittite side. Culture, Persia. Training, Hittites. Civics, surprisingly, Persia at the moment, but that's going to be legalism, cleric legalism for you. That will change once the Hittites decide to build their edicts everywhere, and their military score is neck and neck. Slight disadvantage for the Hittites, but that should change momentarily. Legitimacy favors Persia. So yeah, definitely feels like long-term favoring for the Persians. Definitely not a hot spot for the Hittites to be in. We have seen comebacks, so I wouldn't count them out yet, but yeah, JCT really needs to figure out what they're doing with their economy. Specifically, not their economy, but specifically their science. So that's another reason why I think I would have preferred, like, we're building another worker in Tarsa, and I know it sounds not like the greatest strategy right now, but honestly, those 4-turn archives in every city and in every potential city are looking really good to me right now. I think there's plenty of time to get boats in the water. There isn't a massive... Oh, the Persians have decided to go to this island, so that's interesting. There isn't a massive naval advantage for Persia. Persia only has 1 ship. So Hittites have plenty of time to catch up on ship tempo, ship momentum. So that's fine. They just need to get their training operational. We're finishing a barracks. We need more officers in our barracks. Things like that. Steel's coming up in 1 turn, so it looks like we got a science boost at one point, because I'm pretty sure that was 4 turns away last turn. So that's nice to see. We're going to have a couple of axes just in time for when we would need them. We have a settler coming out next turn, so we can settle. So currently Persia has now 10 cities to our 7. It's going to be 10 to 8. That's not an insurmountable advantage. Persia, the Hittites are also securing this central site down here. So that's going to be 9 to 10 in favor of the Persians. And of course, the Persians should very easily be able to secure this island, though it will be 9 to 11. And that, of course, is not a insurmountable advantage at all. But of course, yes, the Hittites are currently behind. They're up in wonders. That's a thing. Persia's building the pyramids now. Hittites already have the stupa, and they're securing the Jerwan. Not necessarily the best spot or best combo for the Jerwan, but it's better than nothing. Going to be a little bit more science. 3 more science coming in, which they desperately need. So personally, I would be thinking about archives. I would be thinking about... Yeah, I wouldn't even be building the worker here. I'd be building the... Look at this. This is a 2-turn archive. 2-turn archive. Why wouldn't you do that? That's awesome. That's going to give you an extra 10 science into the tech tree in 2 turns. and then it's going to get you an extra 9.9 science, so basically 1 science per turn indefinitely. So you should be doing the 2-turn archive. I'll probably do the 4-turn archive. You can basically do a 4-turn archive wherever you want. This one's a 3-turn archive. Yeah, man, personally, I'm feeling the archives on the Hittites. They're not the best thing in the world. They're not going to, you know, solve the problem, but they certainly will help. Certainly a decent band-aid. And then as I'm building those archives, I need to target a tech that I want to get soon. So I would probably target monasticism after steel. Unless sovereignty comes up, I might target sovereignty instead. But sovereignty or monasticism, because both have the potential to get me more science. Let's look at constitution, how beefy that's a 6.5 constitution, so that's good. And then monasticism would allow us to start building monasteries from our Christian and eventually Manichaean founded religions. The Manichaeism will happen as soon as this Christian disciple spreads, or the next turn after. We're getting phalanx next. What do we have? No, yeah, I would be grabbing monasticism here. We do not need phalanx. I would absolutely be grabbing monasticism. Our weakness is science. Monasticism at this stage right now in our hand, apart from maybe going for that free court scholar, which would be funny, is our next closest source of science. And we do have a religion. We have Christianity with 2-turn disciple capability, right? So we can both spread this with disciple growth, spamming some disciples, and we can then use some disciples to build monasteries. So I think for the Hittites here, the pivoting into the monasticism is the way to go. I don't really understand why they're getting phalanx at all, actually. That you're looking down a bunch of spears. I guess you're dealing with Persia, so you could be worrying about the unique unit, but that unique unit's going to mess up your spears anyway. So I would just rely on my heavy chariots to try and take out the Persian unique unit. I think. So, yeah, we need science. I'd get monasticism here if I were the Hittites. Especially because we can reliably, if we want to intuit the fact that the clerics are going to take Christianity from the fact that we brought it into the game, then we can reliably know at this stage, since we have metaphysics, and I think you can tend to assume that if you have metaphysics, your opponent probably doesn't, because it's not a very popular pick. We can kind of assume that our opponent's going to bring in that Christianity, which is going to spread Manichaeism to us anyway. So there's really lots of incentive, I think, right now for the Hittites to try for monasticism. Also, if we are worried about the Persian unique unit, you get a free camel off of it. So yeah, you don't get your spears, but you can get your better science up and running, and then you get a free camel bonus card if you need it. Maybe you don't grab it, but maybe if you see some Palatins showing up, you can pivot into that bonus card, and that's a little bit of an extra safety net on a nice, beefy unit. Yeah, but I definitely don't think they're out of the game yet. They just need to. They need to. You know what? I've experienced this too. I think the mid game can be very tough because you can kind of lose sight of what you should do next. You get a decent start. You get well expanded. Maybe you score religion. Maybe you get a couple. Maybe you get your 4 laws. Whatever it is that you're doing, right? You achieve something, but then you're not in a position to start fighting your opponent. There's no conflict. This is a wider map. So you can end up in a situation where you're kind of looking at the tech tree, right? You open up the tech tree and you're just like, all right, well, now what do I do? And that's a very understandable and relatable feeling. Even I've been there. Sometimes, any of us, the more experienced players, this can happen to Alcaraz. Alcaraz has talked about this happening to him in some games where you just kind of lose sight of what you're doing in the mid game. And you don't really have a concrete plan, so you're just kind of bumbling through the tech tree for a moment. And maybe you find your footing later, but it can be challenging because in a situation like where the Hittites are right now, especially with their science rate, we want to hope that they have a game plan. Add mines. We have a note saying add mines. Yep, we'll need some metal. That's nice. Nice note. What is this? Move scout. Okay, nice to move the scout. Great. Doesn't look like there's any notes on the Persian side. But yeah, 91 science on turn 51. So we didn't quite hit 100 like I thought we were going to, but still pretty close. And Manichaeism was in fact founded by the Hittites on this turn. So we'll see. There's still time enough to pivot to monasticism. I'd really like to see the player pick up on that. Be like, oh, I just got Manichaeism too, so now I have 2 religions in my empire. Let's find out where this happened. If that happened in Kadesh, this is actually a decent spot for it as well, because we're going to get more growth for once these farms are online. A little bit better output from here. Get a couple granaries set up, and we can have some relatively cheaper disciples coming out of Kadesh. Look at that. It took no time at all for the traders to convert to Christianity, by the way. That's really funny. Heavy chariot moving towards the coast. I mean, this is a puzzle, you know? Even as Persia. We saw this with Ninja versus Alcaris. Ninja scored, you know, the majority of the map and still accidentally put themselves into a position where they could have potentially lost the game. So you can do a lot with a little in this game. The momentum of your opponent can get carried away, but sometimes if you're really good at eco, you can stay in the game. But yeah, admittedly not looking so hot for the Hittites. I actually want to look at that worker stat, because we're building 2 more workers in Hatti. So we already have 2 more workers than the Persians. We have another 2 coming out. That's going to be 12 workers to 8. There's 1 worker coming out in Persia, and that's it. That's another thing. I think sometimes players go a little overkill with the workers. I know they're super valuable. Like, Alcaris has this weird standard for himself where he wants like something crazy like 3 workers per city. And that to me just seems way overkill. I think if you actually look at the stats of most duels that pan out in, you know, the 80 to 100 turns that a game obviously tends to finish, I think most players tend to have anywhere between 8 to 12 workers. I don't think you need a lot of workers to have a successful game. Oh my god, turn 52 border boost after clearing the majority of the map. Do we have a settler coming out next at all anywhere either? Settler anywhere? No, but still, I'll take it. 10 city border boost. Look at this. This is incredible. And then when we do settle here, this is going to bridge the gap, and we just have a huge Wait, we're not getting border boost? What? That doesn't make sense. There we go. There we go. That wouldn't have made any sense. Why would you say no to a 10 city border boost? If I were to come up with a ratio of how many workers per city, but that's not how I do it anyway, I would probably pick 1.5 workers per city. But I tend to not even think of it that way. Hard to explain how I had an explanation for how I think of it, but I now forget. Something to do with what turn I'm on. I think it's like workers in relation to what turn I'm on. It actually has nothing to do with the number of cities that I have. Tons of people do the worker per city thing, but I think how I do it is how many workers I have and what turn is it. Also, order ratio is a thing too. I don't care if I have 2 workers per city if I can't move any of them. But yeah, I don't even abide by the usual. That's a common metric that I've heard people on Discord talk about. You know, worker per city. I don't even think of it that way. I just think about how many workers I have in my empire, how many am I able to sustain, and where are they? And because the other thing is I migrate workers a lot, right? Like this city, even though it's the capital, I could consider this basically done, right? So what ends up happening is I start sending the worker from the capital to the next city to do something that's important. So like maybe I'm trying to do barracks and citadels, or barracks and garrisons more than anything, right? I would finish my barracks and garrisons, and then I'd just take this worker down here and start building barracks and garrisons. You know, and then I'd come down here and build barracks and garrisons. And by the time I get out here, maybe there's 3 workers in this region. And what do I need in this region? A bunch of farms, a bunch of quarries, a bunch of mines. So now I have all my workers out here building farms, quarries, and mines. And then guess what? If I need a worker back in my capital, whoop, I can come here and I can build a 3-turn worker in my capital. If I need it, rather than being all the way out here and building an 8-turn worker in this city or a 7-turn worker in this city. I just migrate. I like casually flow my workers outward across the empire. That way I'm never even wasting 6 or 7 turns building a worker out here. Of course, I do have early starting cities build that worker, but I try to migrate and have my best growth cities build my workers. So yeah, that's a little bit about how I think about workers, I guess. We are now on the Hittites' turn. Really nice that we have have axes now. I wonder if we'll try to contest this city, like, or by contest I mean take it, because we fill these tiles with nothing but units. It'll be really hard to do any fun coastal border flanking. We could do 2 damage. We could do 7 damage. 11 damage. Wow, you could do 11 damage to the... No, wait, I didn't... We also have 1 more tile. You could do 13 damage to this city. It's pretty nuts. And you could do 13 damage to this city with only allowing 1 spear to attack this heavy chariot. It would be pretty safe. Put the heavy here in the center. Put the axe probably down here. And not the reason why I suggest... Actually, no, we need to upgrade another axe. So yeah, so we'll have 2 axes. Sell some food to upgrade axes. No reason not to. We have plenty of training. Just sell some of this food stockpile. Get yourself another axe right now. Get yourself 2 axes, actually. And yeah, I think the Hittites actually could take this. There is not a lot... Oh, there's a second ship now, though, so that's going to complicate things. So now what I want to do is peek over at the Persians and see if we have... Oh yeah, we have amphibious. You want to get amphibious on this bireme. That'll turn this into a 6-strength unit that can attack all along these tiles. So let's hope that Kerstad spots amphibious and is able to promote this unit. That'll be really, really good. That'll be really good. Also, what do we got for laws? We can adopt 1. Centralization, legal code, divine rule. Divine rule would be 4 more orders. Epics or exploration. Centralization would be solid opinion. How's our politics? I'm pretty sure our politics is fine, right? Our politics is fine. We need to get the riders away from Judaism, though. So we could influence or make this this matriarch an ambassador, and then start some conversion on the Riders family. It would take quite a bit of effort, but I think that would be worth it. All right. Sentinel Slingers returning to the island stronghold. Building a settler in 6 turns from Tus. Building some hunts as well. And going on some shopping sprees. Nice to see that. Disciple out. And monastery down. Another 4 science. And now if the Hittites choose to adopt any religions or theologies, it will benefit Persia as well. Oof. Man. And now we're building a Manichaeist. See? So we're doing the same thing. Now we're building the Manichaeist disciple, and we're going to get more science up and running. So again, it takes a little investment, but it can get crazy. Nice to see Persian clerics. Ooh, and we're building a courthouse as well. That's fun. That's fun. Nice to see Persian clerics doing a good job. Or any clerics, for that matter. Axe is coming down here from the Hittites to clear this central Vandal site. That'll give us 9 to 10 cities, and then eventually 9 to 11. Really not an insurmountable advantage, but the Persians are in a very, very strong position. They're about to get their own axes. Heal in 2 turns for the Persians. Honestly, I think I would have done spoked wheel myself. Building a garrison down in Shushtar. Lots of military being built in Hatti. And we do have a settler coming down here as well to settle this central Vandal site. So that's nice to see. Landowners up in the north in Tuanua, freshly settled on the last of the Numidian sites. And this is the landowner seat, so we can collapse this border if we want to. Still not seeing enough players utilize the landowner seat bonus strategically. It's a very, very high value ability. Seeing some pillar edicts go up, which is nice. There's 2 so far, but I would really like to see the... Oh, a third one, great. Really like to see the pace on that pick up a little bit. Plop your edicts down quickly. Nice, another axe being put out. What's fascinating here is, honestly, here on turn 54, with 2 ships in the ocean, if we get another one, we are getting another one, with 3 ships in the ocean, or maybe perhaps a 4th, I think Persia would be in a very strong position to sail into this bay with 1 or 2 ships, and then maybe even down here, and anchor after staging up in Hatra a bunch of his military. And I think Persia will be very quickly capable of launching an invasion into Hatti if they wish. And that's one of the powers of noticing the map layout and really playing to the strength of the map. We saw an early Byrene come out on Persia. We saw early colonies first law. And now we've settled this, or we've claimed this whole island region, and we've built ships. So that really shrunk the battlefield. I'm going to hop over to Persia here. I'm going to grab the hero. The hero can get all the way to the capital, basically. Right? So let's grab a different unit. Let's grab a worker. Let's grab the worker at the capital. This worker can get here, so that would be 1 turn. Let's grab a different worker. Let's grab this guy. This guy can get all the way over here, right? So anything being built in this region is going to be able to teleport directly across the map. Anything built in these 4 cities, and then for the capital or Gabai, that'll be 2 turns. 1 turn to get to the coast, another turn to cross. If we can collapse and or anchor here, these slingers can also teleport to Hatra. So coastal movement is insane. It's super valuable. And we basically cut the distance of these two nations, not even in half. I think we cut it down by 2/3, to be honest. And that's an advantage that Persia has to themselves exclusively. Persia is 2/3 of the map closer to the Hittites, but the Hittites are no closer to Persia. So it's a very one-sided way of looking at it. Or lopsided way of looking at it, which pans out in reality. Pyramids are finished. And we've adopted all of our laws. So now we have 5 laws, centralization, legal code. I think that's interesting. I like that grab. We would get 4 orders per turn, but we don't really need them. And we could use some extra civics to adopt more laws. And we've got exploration. We're getting steel now. Monasticism and sovereignty can be next, and that's going to bring us to 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. 7, and we have a strong city in the hunter seat in 8 turns. A strong city in the capital in 10. So we'll have 2 nodes. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. We don't have any horses. Nice. Good news for the Hittites. We need to get Zadrakata up to strong. Oh, nope, nope. Oh, brilliant tile buying. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, wait, why did I go? We actually took this ranch up by this rider seat, and we sold it into the hunter seat. So yeah, we will get our 8 strength unit shortly and in good time. Building our stronghold now, which is lovely to see. Yep, so we'll get stronghold in 5 turns. This would be about, this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4-ish turns. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-ish turns. 9-ish turns. Then a 6 turns citadel. So yeah, I think we'll be ready to attack with 8 strength units in 20 turns or less. Or, you know, we could end up attacking sooner with just a 6 law timing. The 6 unit timing. Sherwan has finished. 49 science for the Hittites. I feel like I'm not crazy. I feel like in a situation such as this, the archive span's not a completely bad idea, right? Like, we can't really build much other in the way of specialists right now. A rural specialist would get us 0.9 and some yields, which is fine, but the archive would get us 0.9 and then a 10 science boost into the tree, which help us leapfrog to something, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get monasticism in our hands. Because then that would be more science. You use your science boosts. Whoop, excuse me, sorry for the noise. You use your science boosts to get to your science boosts. What about governors? What about governors? A little bit of science, a little bit of science. What about over here? 1.53 science. That's decent. Not much, really. What about down here? 1.4 science. Yeah, there's probably like 4 or 5 science lingering around in potential governors. But that's not too much. I mean, we are the Hittites, so we can afford to run around and spam the 3 or 4 governors that would get us that extra 5 or 6 science. But, you know, I guess it's up to you if that would be worth it. How are we doing on time? 3 hours. Okay. Very likely, I suspect they might call the end of the session soon, but it's perfectly fine if they choose to keep going. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. Border boost coming out for the Hittites. Another nice border boost for the other nation. That's really great. A late stage border boost for the Hittites. That's going to be really nice for them. Sovereignty coming up for Persia. That's going to be great. So they're going to... Oh, it competed with monasticism, though. Although... No! Monasticism in the dross pile. That's gross. The Persians are literally going to be able to go sovereignty into monasticism. 7 laws in approximately 7 turns. Or maybe that's closer to 8. Nice anchor network set up. Look at this. This slinger, all the units down here can just whoop all the way up to Hatra. All the way up north, close to Tuanua. If we get another anchor here, we could literally invade the land of Tuanua all the way from Shistar on the other side of the map. Really gross. We could also contest this site. We can choose to contest this site, although we don't have the orders anymore. So yeah, we're bringing our turn to an end. Would have been funny to dive in and steal this site from the Hittites, though. Wow. Crazy, man. Persia is cooking. Another Manichaeist disciple coming out. Oh, we haven't actually built the first one, so this is still the first one. But that'll spread the religion. We'll build another one. We'll get another force science in the city. Another Byreme coming out. Nice to see it. Gonna secure naval dominance. So that's 1 Byreme next turn, and yet another Byreme in 3 turns. Axemen coming out of Shushtar. I feel like we don't really need Axemen, but okay. Diversity is always nice, I suppose. And really, really nice border boost for the Hittites as well. Really, really collapsing all this border. Nice to see. They've secured all this coastline now as well. So they have smooth sailing across the coast, also denying any potential... I mean, I guess there's a little possibility for some tile buying out here for the Persians, but did the Persians switch to serfdom already? No, they're still in colonies. So there's still ample opportunity for tile buying shenanigans should the Persians feel so inclined to do so. First ship hitting the water for the Hittites, amphibious and fire ship are both on the table for this ship. Both are very good promotions that will be useful here. Amphibious will help fight the battle on this island should we choose to invade. And then fire ship will help us secure some amount of dominance at the ocean. Of course, we will need more ships if we do want any naval dominance. We're building another Byreme up north already. I would not be surprised if we see a Byreme coming out of Zalpua, which allows Rincewind to be satisfied in his hope that this will build up into an interesting naval conflict. It is possible that it may very well do so. Especially, ooh, we have a boat down here. Poor scouting from the Hittites in the ocean, by the way. We don't really know. I mean, we can intuit that there is a Persian navy from their ability to get this far, although they could have hopped. Well, no, actually, no. Either way, you'd need a navy. So a little bit of poor scouting on the part of the Hittites here because they don't know how much threat could come out of the fog and just beat up this ship. And let's actually map that out a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Might be fine. Risky, though. Another ship coming out next turn, so I might be so inclined to hop up here, attack this on both sides, and even if it costs me a ship at some point, it's trapped here. Although, no, now I can go into the city, build queue, and hide, so never mind. Another Riders family. What on earth is happening? There's 4 Riders, 3 landowners, 2 traders. Well, I mean, I guess whatever, it doesn't matter. With that set up. This could have been a good trader spot, could have been a good landowner spot. Riders is just fine. You're going to get the culture. And, can we still import? No, we didn't import. Did we import in the capital? Yes, we did. That makes sense. That makes sense. Rushing out a heavy chariot. Rushing out a heavy chariot. We're getting polis now. I wonder what's up with that. Looking to get forestry for the Hittites. Sovereignty is still marked. Machinery marked. Machinery could be useful. Still 16 of you in the chat with me. Appreciate you being here. Of course, if you're watching after the fact, live on YouTube, give us a like, subscribe. Also, if you're watching live or on YouTube, and you've never left a review for Old World, do us a favor. Take a little bit of time. Doesn't need to be a big sentence. Doesn't need to be a whole paragraph. Just, hey, a thumbs up. I like this game. Really goes a long way to feed the algorithms and support Mohawk Games in the long run for, making all of the games that they want to make. So, it took me 2,000 hours to lead my first review. I'm pretty sure Old World is the only game I've ever reviewed. So I definitely get it that many of us are probably not in the habit of leaving reviews, but it does go a long way. So if you like my content, and you've been enjoying the tournament and these games, and you want to see more, feel free to leave a review for Old World. I would appreciate it. If I had the money, man, I would like go on the Civ Reddit, and I would just be like, if anybody ever wants to play Old World, I'll buy you a copy. I would buy like 1,000 people a copy of Old World just to get more people playing it. Unfortunately, I can't afford that. Another ship in Persia coming out. We have Grappler and Fire Ship available. Hey, Jason, I hope you enjoy it. Jason in the chat says, watching so much of the tournament to date, never knew about it being a tournament game. Yeah, that just kind of happened, really. Sort of by accident, to be honest. Has inspired me to try and give it a go again, hence a reinstall as I watch. Well, I hope you enjoy it. I think it's one of those games. One thing I've learned, one thing I've noticed a lot over the years, because I'm always orbiting the Old World community, is this seems to be a game that lots of people bounce off of. But one thing that I've noticed is that's quite common is that you get players that'll be like, oh, I didn't like it the first time, but the second time. Or even some players who like, yeah, I didn't like it the first couple of times, but then I downloaded it recently, and all of a sudden everything clicked, right? And then they got hooked. So, it's definitely cool that you're going to try it again, because maybe it'll click this time, and maybe you'll vibe with it. And if you have any questions or want to learn about the game, hop onto the Discord and just message me. Well, do it in the Discord channel, and I'll be happy, or Alcaris or anyone else, we'll all be happy to help you learn or figure stuff out if you have any questions, because that's what the Discord's there for. And that one of the reasons why I'm doing this tournament anyway, and casting so much is all I ever want to do is talk about this game. So this is just an outlet for me to be able to talk about the game. And another outlet for me is teaching people how to play the game. 2 turns on sovereignty for Persia. Axe is coming out. We did a couple of things over back here with the treasuries, which, I mean, I guess we are on low income, so that's one way to get them back up, I suppose. On low money income. But I was a little surprised to see the double treasuries down here. In fact, we're doing lots of projects in Persia, which is interesting to me. I like to see it because I'm a fan of projects, so it's interesting to see the play style. Projects are so nuanced and such a niche thing that I can't really even criticize them all that much in this particular case, because Persia's playing a strong game, and projects are niche enough that you really need to be like in the driver's seat of a nation to kind of understand when you should or shouldn't be building them. That's what I'm so used to playing the Hittites, which is one of the reasons why I called for the archive spam, in the last 10 turns or so, because I can kind of intuit that could help the situation a little bit because I'm so familiar with the nation. Also, I'm looking directly at the board state. Having a little bit of harder time seeing what's up with the project spam in Persia, but I mean, they're really humming along, so I can't really offer any notes on that, I guess. Skipper, glad you're hooked. You're the person who plays the Barb Horde a bunch, right? Which is also really cool. I got hooked on that for a little bit. I think I played the Barb Horde like nonstop, for like a month. Also, if you've never done this on the Barb, oh, we're going in for attacks. We killed some stuff. We're attacking the city. The Hittites advancing. What's the power score here? The Persians are weaker than the Hittites. What? Oh, wow. Okay, the one thing I don't like is its positioning here for the heavy chariot. Would have been better on one of these, on this central tile. And actually, either one of these tiles. And the reason for that is because there's now 2 tiles that can be occupied by a spear and do some serious damage. So you're going to lose this heavy chariot. If you minimize that attack vector, I guess, down to 1 tile, the chariot would very likely have survived. Although, unless you don't fill all these tiles. Yes. Okay, so hopefully... Oh, no, we're running out of orders. Let's hope to God that there isn't a unique unit lying around in the Persian Empire. It doesn't look like we have one. Wow. Wow. All right, bold move from the Hittites, but I don't hate it. If there's an opportunity to take a city here, you definitely want to do it. Your opponent's weaker. Let's look at orders real quick between the 2 nations. I know Persia's probably ahead, but not by too much. 33 to 29. Really nice keeping up on the order econ there from the Hittites. Normally in a stage like this, you have 1,000,000 orders in Persia and, however many where you are. Chariots do get flanking. Chariots can flank. Any unit can flank. Yeah, but this is going to be a dead chariot, which is fine, I guess. Probably come up here and kill it from this distance, right? Or maybe move this guy back. Yep, okay. So that's a dead chariot. Do we have launch offensive? We do. We do. That's a little gross. Are we gonna launch offensive? We may. We just may. We just may. Wow. I would have done that a little bit differently. I would have put the spear up north and attacked. Shit. That's really unfortunate. Kerstad, you missed that opportunity. I don't think the spear... Oh, wait. The spear did attack. Yes, he did. So he can attack again. Never mind. You did everything right. Never mind. This guy helped kill the chariot. So, all right. Cool. We can Oh, I would move down here. Oh, dude. Kerstad, you have to move back here with the slinger. You'll lock in this entire army, and it will all die. Move down here, kill the axe, or fine, then move up here. I would have moved down there with the slinger, killed the axe, move up here with the spear, do some damage. Nice. Yep. How much damage are we going to do? Only 5? That's okay. Oh, we got... Oh, yep. Okay, that's a dead... Oh, man. The Hittites are going to lose their entire army. Well, not their entire army, but their entire invasion force. That's a rough beat. What about more orders? Can we get another unit up here? What about this fella? This fella want to join the fight? Oh, you do. Look at this movement! This isn't a force march. We swift? Of course we're swift. Dude, we can get all the way onto this tile. But we're not. We're moving up ships. That's okay. Well, actually, we still could. Crazy, man. Nice use of launch offensive. Too many people, I think, worry about getting the full circle. Oh, we did come in! Tactician spear with the steel chair coming in. Wow, devastating. Devastating. Every single thing is trapped. So we came in here with 1, 2, I think. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Hittite units. We've lost 3, and the other 3 are surely dead. And even if this chariot decides to get cheeky, it will not be able to kill this slinger because there's only 1 tile. That's bad time. Hittites should take an opportunity. Oh, wait, they can't. You can't promote units on the other player's turn anymore, which is a good change. So good for you, Mohawk. Thanks for listening. Cornhog, nice. Cornhog is the rabbit's foot of the tournament because he says, so far, every time I've watched one of these, I join just as someone is making a disastrous attack. All right. Well, here we are. Really great turn from Persia, and our sovereignty is coming online next turn, and we can pivot right into monasticism and get 7 laws. And we have ships moving up. And that's, excuse me, that I think... Let's take a peek at power scores now, because this is the turnover. Alright, so we're still a little bit ahead of Persia. Not disastrous. Well, actually, 3 of those units are definitely dead, so this is probably going to equalize completely next turn. So maybe disastrous. We're not even going to be able to get a kill here at all. Four damage. Yeah, not quite. What about the ship? Can the ship come up here? 4 damage plus 4 damage is 8 damage. Okay. So we could route... I mean, you're definitely going to lose the chariot, but you could route to kill this thing. And does that do anything? No. Yeah, so don't do it. Don't throw away the chariot for nothing. Wow, that's wild. Ooh, the zealot could do this. The zealot axe could do this. You could come up here, whack this thing. That will put it down to 2, 4, 6, 7 health, right? This one will do 4. This one will do 4 with a force march. So you could, and then I do not believe that Persia would be able to take out a zealot axe with only 1 tile of melee attack. So I think you actually could get this highly promoted slinger without any additional losses. Because you're definitely losing these 3 units. So I think you could pull that off. Let's see if JCT can figure that out and if they feel like doing it. Finishing up these Jerwan farms. Getting more slingers out. Always a big morale hit. When you launch an attack, you think you're doing well. I mean, that was... If we didn't leave an opportunity for excess mobility, that might have not been the worst attack. But it's certainly difficult to do attacks like this because this coastal movement, if any holes form, or your opponent can just create a hole, it can get really bad very quickly. Rushing a Byreme out. Let's try and peek at our navy. So one navy. One ship, rather, in the Hittite navy. One navy in the Hittites. Versus 3 Byremes. The Persians. Oh, they're spamming council everywhere. I wonder what's up with that. Oh, we want training. We want to make sure that we can get a launch offensive next turn if we need it. That makes sense. That's a fun way to utilize council, especially mid-turn. I might wait on that and wait to see if the Hittites are going to do anything funky. Because if they're not, then I might not need the council. But I've certainly swapped to a bunch of councils to try and get myself some training mid-turn for force march or whatever else. Can I get a garrison online, probably? We have 900 stone. We could probably get another wonder if we wanted to. What's good? None of our cities are strong yet. In fact, none of the cities in anywhere are strong yet. This is a relatively low culture game. This is a relatively low culture game. Not a single strong city on the map on turn 58. That's okay. Especially if your opponent doesn't have a strong city. That's certainly okay. But just in general, that's a little bit slower pace on culture. But I think that's all right. All right, back to Persia. Monasticism next. I'm sure we'll see that get grabbed. 100 science per turn. 4-turn monasticism. We can adopt tyranny or constitution. Now, both would be good grabs. I don't think we really need the science anymore, so I'd probably opt for tyranny in this situation. Constitution feels better early when you need science boosts. Tyranny seems better later when you no longer need as much science because your science is already super high. Like how much, do we really need 9.6 science when we're making 108 per turn? Kind of becomes a drop in the bucket. Whereas instead, we actually could use 116 gold per turn and then, of course, an extra 20% training in every single city. So, hopefully we'll see tyranny here. The tyrannical Persians. Nice. Full connected city without the need of anchor. So now our navy is completely freed from the need to secure anchoring across the empire. And did we get... Oh, yeah. We got amphibious on one. We got amphibious on another one. 2 amphibious ships. Great. 2 amphibious ships in the Persian Navy. 1 grappler and 1 fire ship. That is almost the perfect configuration you could ask for to be totally honest. That is a really good configuration. Do we have the ability to kill this axe? I would like to. Nice. We do. Very nice. Well done. Well done. All down. No need for a launch offensive. Navy in the region. Persia's similar. Sorry, the Hittites are similar now. I wouldn't build a worker here. I'd build an axe or a slinger. And for me and my taste, it's time to go end the game. I don't think the Hittites... I wouldn't think the Hittites have much up their sleeves after that, after losing 6 units. And I wouldn't think... I would even take all these units. You know, I would bring back a ship... I'd bring this ship for 1 anchor here. And just throw these units across the map. Because even if somebody starts taking this city, I don't care. I'll let them have it because I'll have my entire army up in the core of Hattie taking valuable cities. If these 3 axes or whatever else want to come threaten a border city that I don't care about it, have at it. Who cares? But Kerstad looks like they're still playing a longer game. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. When we are finally strong. Wait, we're... Oh, are you kidding me? We just hit strong in the capital. Are we selecting Polis? Wait, what the hell? Wow, how did we get so... We got like 40 science in 1 turn. That's crazy. Governors? Did we run around and do governors, I guess? How the heck did that just happen? Did we just jump up in science? No, it just... No, yeah, we did. 100 science. Now I'm looking at 140 science. Wow. I wonder what happened there. 2 scholar governors. Swords to plowshares or metal production. I'm not sure I understand what JCT is saying there. Well, yeah, bloodthirsty leader. Good point. Swift, strict, bloodthirsty. Strict is another reason why I'd be building military units right now. Get a little bit of XP on all of them. Yeah, and I really think... really think there's a possible situation. So it's well played. Is this a surrender? Curious. The Hittite player just said well played. Building 2 scouts, which I found fascinating. Politics in the traders' family is an issue. No ruler is intelligent right now. Still no order movement. Oh, they're saving. Okay, my bad. They're talking on Discord. So we're saving. We're ending this session. Okay, great. Great. Okay, I'll do a quick recap and then end the stream because it's time for me to go do other things. Okay, so science is looking great for Persia. Now a lead of 300 science per turn, which is still not insurmountable for the Hittites. So still time for the Hittites to get their science game back on point and catch up. They all they really need to do is equalize the rate within reason, right? Get up to 70 or 80, because that will stem the tide of Persia getting a deeper and deeper advantage in the tech tree. So really, this looks worse than it is, because a lot of this science rate was catching up for the first half of advantage that Persia, that Hatti had. So there is a window for the Hittites to kind of ramp this up. The threat that's going to exist going into the future sessions is if the Persians want to posture their navy along the coast. Even if they don't invade, that's going to cause so much pressure on the Hittites to make sure that they can fend off an invasion, then that will basically take their queues, their build queues, and like have them focus on more units and stuff, which can be a distraction. Of course, it can be necessary in order to defend yourself. They just lost 6 units, but it can always mean that you're not developing your economy, which is always important. Orders, similar. And I did the stat check on turn 50, so I'm not going to do the full stat check. I will recap it if I capture the next session. I'll recap it for everybody. But thank you guys so much for hanging out. 17 in chat. At one point, there was nearly 30 of you. So I'm glad you guys have been enjoying the content, enjoying the streams. And I'm going to sign off here. So as always, I'm Scientific. This is the Old World Community Tournament. Kerstad versus JCT. Persia versus Hatti. Round 2 match. Take care.